I want to call this meeting to order, Madam Clerk.
Supervisor Bredfeld? Here. Supervisor Chavez?
Here.
Supervisor Pacheco?
Here.
Supervisor Maxey?
Here.
Supervisor Mendez?
I'm here.
All present, thank you.
Okay, welcome to the August 5th meeting of the Board of Supervisors. We will begin with the invocation and flag salute. The invocation will be led by District 5. After the invocation, please remain standing for the flag salute.
Thank you, Chairman. Here with us today is Pastor Jim Dixon. He's the head pastor at the Church of Shaver Lake. The church was established in 1985 and is an interdenominational Christian Bible-based fellowship church. Immediately after the Creek Fire, his congregation got to work helping victims of the Creek Fire. His church, among many other things, has donated and paid for 150 wells from people who were impacted by the Creek Fire. Pastor Jim is also a volunteer of our amazing search and rescue team here in the county of Fresno, and he will lead us this morning. So, Pastor, the floor is yours.
I got to push the button. I'm sorry. Thank you for loving us and for who we are and for giving us in our weaknesses, carrying us in our tiredness, and showing us your love at the cross. You gave us an example of ultimate love and service by sending your Son Christ to the cross to show us what your heart is for your people here. Thank you for those men and women here who you've placed in charge of this great county. Give them wisdom and leadership as they continue their service to you and your people. Let them always remember what you said some 2,700 years ago. Do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. And we thank you for that, and we pray for you that in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the salute of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Item number 1, approve agenda.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, so I say an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 2, approve consent agenda, item numbers 31 through 65.
Okay, and I think already 51 needs to be pulled.
61.
61 for the Levine Act. So you got your straws ready and everything? Okay. Does anybody on the board want to pull any other item? Hearing none, does anybody in the public want to pull any item 31 to 65 off the consent agenda?
I don't know what number it is. There's a few things, I see on the agenda. Are they like just being voted on, or is it something like we can pull and discuss later?
No, this is 31 to 51.
I'm barely becoming
61.
familiar with this, so
Yeah,
I'm learning.
65,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, I take that as none. So, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move for approval of the remainder.
Okay, and second, all in favor, second by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 3, under the Board of Supervisors, presentation of retirement plaque to Vincent Andrew Mendez, Department of Public Health, 36 years of service.
Good morning, Chairman and fellow members of the board. Joe Prado, Interim Director for Fresno County Department of Public Health. And today we are here to celebrate a remarkable career of Vincent Mendez. He over 36 years of dedication to the Fresno County Department of Public Health. And I'd like to give you a little insight into that career of his. Vincent Mendez began his career at Fresno County Department of Public Health in 1988 as Extra Help in Environmental Health. He soon became permanent and worked in the mountain areas around Shaver and Huntington Lakes. Vince completed work in water systems, food, recreational health, organized camps, and employee housing. He moved into the solid waste program and worked there for a few years before becoming a program lead for the new hazmat compliance program known as Coupa. In late 1998, Vince was promoted to Supervising Environmental Health Specialist and took over the Hazmat Compliance Program and Emergency Response Team. He has grown that Hazmat Compliance Program significantly over the years and has added new staff and a significant number of new facilities along the way. You know, Vince was always willing to step up outside of his role, and I just want to share a couple of those examples. During the COVID-19 response, early on when we didn't know a lot about the virus, we needed to improve testing throughout the county of Fresno. And so Vince volunteered to lead that testing team, and we did it out of our back alley, Bricks MRSA out in Congo Alley. And what him and that TB tuberculosis team did is they set the standard for Fresno County. Other health clinics came to see what the workflow was like. How did you maintain safety to employees and to patients? Hospitals came to learn the workflow as well, and Vince led that work there. The second piece where he really stepped out was during the Creek Fire. His team led the response to perform 1,000 property damage assessments, and this was going on along with the COVID response as well. So just wanted to point out those two significant events where Vince really stepped out of his norm to really help this community out. He then was promoted in 2022 as the Environmental Health Division Manager, and I want to point out the two key assets he implemented during his tenure. First was approval of the environmental health fee structure. That now has given us the right amount of resources to effectively manage our environmental health division and being able to protect the safety of our community overall. The second was a significant ordinance update, aligning our operations and statutory requirements with those ordinance updates. And lastly, just wanted to, Vince was born and raised in Fresno and attended California State University, Fresno, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Health Science. He has been married to his wife, Laura, for 26 years and has two sons, Jackson, 23 years old, and Andrew, 19 years old. Thank you very much, Board.
Vince, you want to say a few words?
Oh, just a few words. Well, good morning to the board. Mr. Nerlin, it's good to see you. Good to see everybody. It's been a couple months since I retired, and I haven't missed it one bit. I'm sorry. But it has been great. I've been rehabbing a brand new knee. I got a knee replacement a week after I retired, much needed, and I feel so much better. And no, I'm not coming back to work. But those few words would have to be thank you. Leadership and support that I got from Joe and from Dave Lucchini over my time as division manager, plus countless other division managers prior to me, and all the people that I worked with, you know, and Eric Armstrong has taken over as division manager, and I have no doubt that they're going to continue to do great things and protect the community and public health of everybody in Fresno County, and we will continue to work with you. I'm hoping that today you pass the ordinance for the animal control for the dog breeding. I'd love to see maybe have a discussion someday about mandatory spay and neuter for this county to control the animal population as best we can and to see what we can do. And hopefully that'll help alleviate some concerns. Supervisor Bredefield, I'd like to thank you for going to the shelter and realizing that they did need air conditioning in that building. And I'm glad that you've got that going. It was well overdue. And I think that shelter could be really something special with a few enhancements that are in play. I think especially the solar panels that'll help also give shade over the exercise yards. And I think the other thing is to get a surgical center in there and to work closely with all the vets in the area so that we could have that spay neuter and hopefully do it for low cost and also be able to offer free for a lot of our homeless pets that are out there. So basically that's about it. I could go on, but I don't want to hold you up.
Okay.
And again, those few words from the bottom of my heart are just thank you.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
Well, thank you right back at you. Appreciate my office. Always enjoyed working with you, and I just found out that your wife and my mother-in-law have a connection, so it's definitely a small world here, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other in the future.
Yep.
So I want to thank you for all, 36 years is a long run in the county, and, I think we all appreciate it. It was always pleasurable to work with you. Sorry we never got to play the game of Azorian bingo to see if we're related or not, but, that's
We all come from, eventually, if we go back far enough, we're going to find the same
probably, yeah, that's
same
right.
way. So, we spell the last name the correct way, so
Yeah, okay.
that's the thing. And, I have my wife here,
Yeah,
Laura.
I'm going to have them
my
all
son-
come up.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
son
you wanna
Jackson,
introduce
he's
him?
22, not
Yeah,
23. We
yeah.
don't want him to age too much, my son, so I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you. We all done?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and come up and.
We now move to item number 4, under Chairman Mendez, introduce members of the Rural Route 4-H Club.
Okay, this Rural Route 4-H serves the communities of Layton, Riverdale, Burrell, Crothers, and the surrounding area. I'm going to invite you guys up, Rachel and all your friends. If you want to say something, you can, but you don't have to. You can tell us a little bit about 4-H.
Hi, my name is Rachel Mendez. I am a member of Rural Route 4-H Club. I show a lamb for the Crothers Fair. I sell him for market and other stuff. We all have a part in the 4-H club. Some of us are on the I don't know. I'm like on the. I don't know how I would say it. Like, I am for 4-H. I am the hospitality. I have the hospitality part in the 4-H club. So I ask people to volunteer to do stuff like to bring snacks for the 4-H club for after our meetings every month, I think, and yeah, that's what I technically do, and yeah.
That's all right. You're going to get to come. Don't go sit down, Rachel. You're going to come. Do your friends want to say anything? They don't have to. They can, though.
Hello. Again, I'd like to thank you guys for letting us be here today. My name is Jose Patino. I show lambs and goats, and just once again, I'd like to thank you all for letting us stay here.
Yeah, okay. You guys can go ahead and come up and take a picture with us.
We now move to item number 5, under Supervisor Chavez, proclaim August 3rd through the 9th, 2025 as National Health Center Week in the County of Fresno.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Supervisor Chavez.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, a little bit of a update and change. The folks from United Health Centers opted to have me present the proclamation on Friday at the Darien Collegian Ambulatory Care Center opening. So they're not here to receive it. I know we have to vote, so with that, I will make a motion.
Second.
Is there any public comment on item 5? All in favor, so saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
We now move to item number 6, under Supervisor Magsic, proclaim August 11th through the 15th, 2025 as Safety Week in County of Fresno.
I believe we have members of the HR team here to receive this. So safety is very important. We want to make sure that the Fresno County employees who are part of the county family are taken care of. And here with us, we have members of the HR team to share. Floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Jenny Thompson, County Risk Manager. Fresno County Risk Management is dedicated to promoting a safe workplace by raising awareness, encouraging proactive safety practices. We're very grateful that your board joins us in this endeavor through this proclamation proclaiming August 11th through 15th as Safety Week. And we invite all county employees to take part in activities that support a culture of safety on the job and beyond. I'd like to introduce our county safety team. We have Matthias Beer-Stanberry, County Safety Officer, Larry Gomez, Senior Human Resources Analyst, and Liz Arredondo, Human Resources Analyst. And these three comprise our centralized county safety team, which coordinates with all of our departments in order to promote a culture of safety throughout the county. I'd like to recognize department safety coordinators who are also instrumental in promoting safety and insurance compliance in the departments. Matthias, can you please come up and talk about some of the activities we have in store for next week?
All right. Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors, CAO. I'm Matthias Beer-Stanberry, Safety Officer in Risk Management. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to put a spotlight on safety. We really appreciate that. And to thank Supervisor Magsic for sponsoring this item. Next week, we're going to have daily emails covering safety topics for county employees to read and review, discuss with your departments. We also have 2 safety fair events next week, Tuesday the 12th in the Plaza Building lobby from 10 a.m. to 2, and Wednesday the 13th at Pontiac Building 5, Hope Plaza from 10 a.m. to 2 also. Employees can come say hi to the safety team and the workers' comp team. We'll also have some safety vendors and some other county departments sharing safety information. Lastly, I just want to thank your board again for supporting our safety efforts. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second. Is there any public comment on Safety Week? All in favor, so we're saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Go ahead and.
At this time, we will take up the item that was pulled from consent, item 61, which I believe we have 3 individuals who have a conflict to this item. Under Public Works and Planning, conduct second reading of a proposed ordinance granting up to 25-year non-exclusive franchise to RT Diversified Incorporated.
Sure, and this is an item where we have 3 board members that have a conflict under the Levine Act, and which members, that's Supervisor Magsic, Pacheco, and Bredefeld. So under the rule of necessity, so that the board can keep a quorum to conduct the business it needs to conduct, the 3 disqualified board members will participate in a drawing here conducted by the clerk of the board to determine which of them will participate to make the quorum.
Gary's stacking the deck. He's pulling Gary.
Okay.
And Supervisor Bredefeld will serve for this item.
So is there someone here to present this, or?
make a motion if we need to make a motion.
Okay. You make a motion? You gonna second it? Okay, is there any public comment on 61? Hearing none, all in favor, so saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you.
That concludes the items that were pulled from this morning. We return back to your regular agenda. Item number 7, under an auditor, controller, treasurer, tax collector, approve and authorize chairman to execute resolution providing for the borrowing of funds on behalf of Layton Joint Unified School District for fiscal year 25-26 and the issuance and sale of 2025 tax and revenue anticipation notes, therefore, in the aggregate principal of sum not to exceed $3 million.
Good morning, Board. My name is Frank Gomez, Deputy Treasurer Tax Collector. I'm here on behalf of Oscar. We were asked by Layton Unified to assist with issuing a $3 million TRAN. They're unable to do so on their own because they weren't able to meet fiscal accountability. They'll be able to do that later on, but they needed to get this done quickly. We're merely a conduit. They did meet with the DAC, the Debt Advisory Committee, a couple weeks ago. And just wanted to point out the county would have no obligation on the debt. My understanding is somebody is here from Layton to answer further questions.
Is there anyone from Layton here? Oh, it's superintendent.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time to review our resolution and for your consideration. I am Lupe Nieves. I am the superintendent for the district, and I have Mark
Farrell with Dale Scott and Company, the district's municipal advisor.
Thank you so much. And I have Patty Nunez, our district CBO, here to answer any questions you may have for us.
Yeah. So I'll ask, you want to, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Superintendent, for being here. Having served on the Fresno Unified School Board, I'm very familiar with that code and the complexities of that. I guess my question is regarding what caused this cash flow issue for you. Is it ADA, reimbursement? Is it property tax? Is it a combination of both? I'm trying to kind of get an idea of what that is.
I will invite our CBO to also come up and answer this question with me, but just to sum it up, it's a combination of things. The trend is declining enrollment in our district. I'm happy to report that this year it seems like that trend is stopping, and we do have more students in the district this year as in the previous 5 years. So the trend seems to be going on the downward. This really was an issue that was masked by ESSER funding. And so, as you are aware, a lot of districts are facing that COVID cliff. And so we had, COVID monies that really masked the real situation, the real financial situation of the district. When COVID funds started going away, we kept personnel that really we should have laid off. As the COVID funds were decreasing, we should have looked at our student to staff and teacher ratio, and we should have made some adjustments. And unfortunately, that did not happen. We did make those adjustments in the spring. We cut our budget for this school year by $1.3 million, and we're ready to make further adjustments to our staffing and other spending as well. And I'm going to invite our CBO to also add to my statement.
That's very helpful. I think it gives me a better understanding. As a former teacher, I know how challenging it is, especially when you have rural schools where you just, naturally have students that come and go just because of the nature of the parents' work and what they do. I'm definitely supportive. I'm not going to stand in the way of our children getting educational service. I'm just trying to understand the logistics of this process. I know that Fresno County Office of Ed has a little bit of support structure, and you're under that jurisdiction as well. But I've never seen this before at the county level. With this anticipated approval, when do you believe you will be fiscally solvent in this upcoming school year?
Like I said, we are looking to make more financial adjustments this school year. And the plan is that in 2 years' time, we will be able to meet our reserve. And again, I will invite our CBO to comment on that question.
Good morning, everybody. So just to kind of go off what she was saying, we had to make some cuts this spring, and we are prepared for some other cuts that will be coming for this next school year. We do believe that for the 26-27 school year, we will be able to meet our reserve. We've adjusted a lot of spending and made a lot of different adjustments just to make sure that our district is solvent.
Okay, thank you. And you're right. I think especially with a lot of the funding that we received during COVID, that's now we're weaning off. Everybody's doing that, by the way. And that's really, thank you for answering those questions. I have a question for our folks that are representing our Oscar Garcia's office. Appreciate the answers. So these funds, the $30 million, where are they coming from? From our coffers, from what?
No,
funds?
the school district will work with the financial advisor to buy a debt, and it'll be directing the market, and they'll receive the funds from there, and they would be paying that from their revenues.
Okay, that's what I wanted to confirm. Okay, thank you, Chair. Those are all the questions I had.
I happened to talk to Dr. Kofer several months back, and this is before you guys even asked for a trans, and she said she did have a team working with you and felt you could work your way out of this.
I just want to comment that our superintendent of schools, or our Fresno County Superintendent of Schools financial team, and our Dr. Kofer, they have been tremendous. They've been a tremendous support for us in this difficult time, because it has been a very difficult time. This is not a situation that any district wants to be in, but I want you to know that with my team and with the support of our County Office of Education, our district is going to be okay. We will be okay.
Any other questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
And I'll move. I was on the, Brian Pacheco and I serve on the Debt Advisory Board. This came to us. Issuing trans is not unusual for government entities. I think they're typically issued if you recognize that you're going to have negative cash flow. And so just as a bridge to make sure that you don't go negative cash, you issue the tran. There are some interest payments that have to be made on that debt that's issued, but typically it's bridge financing. All that gets paid back within a 12 or 18-month period of time. So with that, I'll make a motion for approval of this item.
Okay. You got a second? All in favor is going to say an aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, who was the second? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
We now move to item number 8, under County Clerk Register of Voters. Receive verbal presentation by the Fresno County Clerk Register of Voters regarding the status of the current DFM Election Management System Agreement A-24-057.
Good morning, Chairman Mendez and Supervisors. I'm James Coos, your County Clerk Registrar of Voters. I'm here today to provide requested follow-up regarding Board Agenda Item 7 from January 23rd, 2024. The County Clerk Registrar of Voters' current contract with DFM Associates Incorporated for our election information management system. The current agreement with DFM Associates is a 3-year contract with 2 potential 1-year extensions that deviates slightly from the county base contract regarding cybersecurity. During contract negotiations, DFM Associates, a 20-year partner of the county, disagreed with some cybersecurity requirements added to the county base contract since the last agreement between the parties. The County Clerk Registrar of Voters recommended the agreement be approved because the election information management system is certified by the state, and that certification requires similar cybersecurity minimums, all of which DFM Associates far exceeds. In the 20 months since this agreement was signed, DFM has pushed 6 major product updates, with the most recent being providing a significant improvement for major voter registration list maintenance process being implemented by the state in July of this year. DFM senior management have worked one-on-one with department staff to personalize this process for Fresno County's registrants. There have been multiple minor updates in that time as well, and DFM's responsiveness to issues or questions from department staff is measured in minutes. The department continues to be very satisfied with DFM's software and service. Competitive bidding was waived for this agreement as at the time there was only one other certified vendor, DIMS, D-I-M-S. Since that time, an additional election management system has been certified. It's called Provista. One county has switched this spring to Provista. A switch in election management system should be planned for a minimum of 6 months implementation time. Based on DFM's continued commendable service and the lack of established service record with current alternatives, the department anticipates completing the current 3-year contract and exercising at least one of the 2 one-year extensions allowed in the current contract. This would position the department to explore an RFP for election management system services in January of 2027, providing ample time for response, selection, and implementation of a new system if a new system is desired. I'd like to thank the board for its continued support of our election processes, and I'd be happy to answer any questions at this time.
Questions from the board?
So just going from memory, when we had the discussion about, in the contract, there was a disagreement about, I think, a cybersecurity component that we needed or asked for them to include. They said no. When we went out and took a look at how other counties operate, it's our understanding that that typically is left out of other contracts. Did we find any vendors or providers that have that included that other counties were currently using?
So as new RFPs are being completed, these are being included into those requirements. So we did not do the RFP for this one, so we're building off a prior contract and bringing new items forward with our new base contract. It was, you're correct, it's cybersecurity insurance was the actual specific areas of contest there. So as new RFPs, so in that new RFP, or for that new contract that was done with Nevada County for Provista, they are addressing these actions. But for contract updates like what we did, no, these have not been added in yet, but we are now starting to see these through RFP processes being brought in as a ongoing forward-looking requirement.
Okay, any other questions? Is there any public comment on item A? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Is there any
Okay.
particular direction that you need from us at this point?
No, at this time, we are going to continue forward. We do now have options. We are now closely watching those options to see how they perform. How does Provista perform? Do additional counties look at that? It's actually my understanding that a couple other counties are looking to actually test Provista. That may get complicated. If the legislature moves forward with some of the things that they're looking to do, there may not be any remaining off time before we move into election time here real pretty quick. So we'll have to see over this coming year how Provista performs, and then, again, look at that RFP process now that we do have options.
Yeah, Brian?
Mr. Coos, I have a question. So you've given your report. So what is the essential function of this company?
So,
you didn't really make that clear to the people who may not be familiar with this.
So the election management system is the day-to-day basic core system that manages registration and election processes within the county. So day-to-day of some 17 election-specific staff, 15 are accessing this program for maintenance of.
So this is the voter rolls.
This is voter rolls.
Voter rolls.
This is candidates. This is creation of ballots and who goes where on those ballots. Every aspect of that process is kind of built in there. Maintenance of jurisdictions and keeping track of who is sitting on which jurisdiction, all of that is recorded within the database.
And then does this company make the ballots as well, or only provides the information for the ballots?
It provides the information. So we pull an extract from the EIMS system.
And another company prints the ballots?
Correct.
And then isn't it true that there's also another company that does all of the financial aspect of that? Like when we have to report, which we just had a reporting period in last month, there's another company that does that as well.
Correct. We do have a different software that we do use for those fiscal reports for candidate filing, FPPC-oriented campaign finance.
Okay, well, I have great interest in that one. That one comes up because we are having a lot of difficulty in reporting our finances to Fresno County in particular. So when that contract is up, I have great interest in that and would hope you wouldn't bring it to us 6 months before it's due and we have limited choices, because we've been complaining for several years now that it's not user-friendly and we need to make an adjustment with that. So I would hope you would keep that in mind as that comes forward.
Yes, sir.
That's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right. How many ballots that are different do you print?
Depending on the election, it could be something, for instance, in the 2021 recall election, countywide election, we only had really one different ballot.
Right.
But for the election last year, we had 278 different types of ballots. And this election management system is part of that way of how we determine.
Right, because it all depends on the local jurisdiction. If they're
Correct.
in a special district, they're in a city.
Correct. So during a general election, we generally see far higher numbers of ballot types, is what we call that, because of our school districts and our special districts and cities coming in. Whereas in a primary like next June, we'll probably have somewhere in the range of 80 to 100 ballot types, because we only have a limited number of our assembly, senate, city supervisorial districts.
Okay, thank you very much.
We now move to item number 9, under the Administrative Office, discuss and provide direction on approval process for any celebration recognition by county departments.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. Paul Nerlin, your CAO. The item before you today is a follow-up. Back on June 10th of this year at the meeting, your board by consensus gave direction to the CAO to create a process for events that county departments may participate in or contribute towards. Additionally, the board directed that the CAO return at a later date to discuss and recommend what county departments may celebrate or participate in. My understanding of the intent was to ensure uniformity and consistency for the county as an organization, with accountability to the board and to the public. On July 8th, Administrative Policy 80 was brought to your board, focusing on department contributions for non-county events, and your board approved that admin policy at the last meeting. There's currently no written policy governing what county departments celebrate in generally, but departments are expected by me to ensure that it is consistent with the mission, vision, and values approved by your board, and that good judgment is used. As requested at the meeting on the 10th, today's recommended action is seeking your board's direction on a process for any such celebration or recognition as described by county departments for the purpose of ensuring continuity, accountability, and transparency. I've given 3 options for consideration. They're not limited to that, but just for your discussion. Option 1 is that these events would be considered by board approval. That would, and to sum it up, the county already celebrates holidays that your board has approved, paid holidays that are listed in the agenda item. And in this option, those would be approved already because they've been approved by your board. Additionally, anything that is already approved by your board by resolution or proclamation would be accepted to be celebrated. But other recognition or celebrations would come to your board, and to accomplish this, the CAO would create a policy similar to Admin Policy 80, where a department would come to your board, ideally looking ahead 6 months or a year, laying out what they would be focusing in on to celebrate or have a theme. Option 2 is CAO approval. County departments, again, may celebrate those county holidays that we already have approved by your board, but anything outside of that would be approved by me with accountability to you as the board. Option 3 is county holidays and board resolution proclamations only, and that is only those that have already been approved by your board. There's countless other options, but I'm here today to receive your direction on this item or answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, or you want me to go out to the public? Okay. Is there any public comment on item 9? We do have if you're going to talk, get up and get in the line.
I gotta really lean in here. Hi, Brandy News Vegas. I hope that you join me in agreement that the county does not need the burden of micromanagement the 3 options proposed would impose on our departments regarding celebrations, and that you reject these options and continue to place approval in the hands of those of the departments. Our departmental leaders are tasked with ensuring that they are following the Fresno County mission and guidelines, as well as responsibilities in meeting their department goals. They and the staff are tasked with an enormous amount of work in their day-to-day operations, and the Board of Supervisors should be seeking how to support our county staff and departments rather than adding extraneous requirements, work, and delays. We shouldn't be creating more challenges for our county that includes maintaining a welcoming, positive work environment. Having more hoops to jump through just to do something celebratory, whether for the larger community or simply for the department office, is an impediment to the positive workspace as well as efficient functioning of the county. As well, celebrations promote community well-being and are wide in variety. What may not seem valuable to the board may bring joy and meaning to those of your constituents. Our community is diverse and our celebrations, and we learn from each other in these. It's also possible that this keeps something that you may approve from happening with the burden of the process. I ask that you vote to reject the options presented and insist on the current process of leaving such decisions in the hands of the department leadership that you have hired to continue. I also continue to oppose Administrative Policy 80 in its passage and the unnecessary burden it creates. Again, each department in the county has a heavy workload and many administrative tasks needed to meet program requirements, which they are responsible to implement successfully to meet the goals and purposes of their department. The undue administrative tasks that this policy adds, the potential delays that harm projects and thus community, potential for important outreach to be impeded or blocked, the added work and added cost that we cannot afford are among the many factors previously brought forth regarding this policy, why administrative policy is a detriment to the effectiveness and efficiency of the County of Fresno operation. And again, I ask that you entrust these decisions to those that work directly with our community and in our departments. Thank you.
Okay. So if you want to talk, you better be in line. Yes, it's your turn. Yes.
Good morning, Board of Supervisors. My name is Tammy McMahon-Gorens. For 39 years, I have been an elementary school teacher, and I've taken Keenan Safe School training every year in order to know and spot what abuse is and subtle signs and red flags. I'm here to support Supervisor Bredefield in his boldness to protect the innocence of our kids. I literally cannot believe we are living in the times that we're living in. I have 3 grandchildren and 2 more on the way. One coming in the fall, one in the spring. Those kids right there are why I'm here. It is because of them that I stand before you now. In all my 39 years of education, teachers were always charged to be non-political. I did not promote my faith because in doing so, I might isolate someone of another faith or even non-faith, which is protected in our Constitution. Gender identity that is being promoted is a belief system. Instead of being born again like my faith, you have to die to everything that your parents and our Creator created them to be and be born again to a new name and identity. Gender theory is a belief system that divides families that don't agree and comply. We are learning of the terrible atrocities of gender-affirming care with Chloe Cole, who's from our own valley. At 15, her breasts were removed and she had instant regret, and I know her personally. Please, I urge you, no matter what side of the aisle you stand on, let's all stand united to protect the innocence of our kids. Kids just want to be kids. They do not need promotions of certain belief systems and ideology that divide families and actually cause irreversible harm. When the world says love is love, I say love is protecting the innocence of our kids. Each person I teach is beautifully and wonderfully made, down to the melanin or lack thereof, down to their height, size, and fingerprint. Please support Supervisor Bredefeld in controlling where our money goes to support what events. And if they do not protect the innocence of our kids, let's not do it. In conclusion, I have a handout of recent discards from a school library. They are all patriotic books that teach us, please don't pass it out till I'm done, about America to make room for all this new indoctrination stuff, as well as crappy, tacky books that are teaching kids to be disrespectful. Even my lefty teacher friends think the books that are out right now are just crazy and trashy. In memory of Sean Burdine, I'd like to say he saw this as a library worker back in 2012, when during story hour, the librarian would not allow him to read any classical literature that had a mother and a father in the storyline because it wasn't inclusive enough. I just returned from DC at a Teacher Freedom Summit where hundreds of educators want politics and controversial promotions out. Thank you so much. And there's a lot in that insert. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Russ Zokaitis. I'm an assistant professor of music at California State University in Fresno. I'm here today with my husband, Logan McLeod, and our adopted son, Owen. I perform regularly as part of the Fresno Philharmonic, the Gwen Symphony of Clovis, the Jazz Composers Orchestra. I play about 35 concerts here in Fresno every year. And that includes a lot of the ceremonies and celebrations that this would affect, including my trombone choir played the national anthem for the mayor's State of the City address 2 years ago. Sorry, I'm a little shaken after the last speaker. We've been in Fresno for about 3 years, and we've found it to be a pretty welcoming and accepting place, including for us to go through the adoption process for Owen. He was born just around the corner a year and a half ago. I do think that AP 80 would be an unnecessary burden for oversight, and it would directly affect our family, especially with the intended purposes that I don't think are written into the actual policy, but I think reading the news and things like that we've seen. And I think it's really important that we maintain kind of the mission of the county of being open and diverse and accepting of everyone, and that includes various celebrations and being welcoming. And I'm gonna go ahead and stop talking. I just wanted to introduce myself and my family, and I think Logan has some more points to make in the next 3-minute section. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Logan McLeod. My husband and I, as he said, moved here to Fresno from Round County, Kentucky, where a certain infamous county clerk decided that her personal beliefs were more important than doing her job by refusing a marriage license to 2 men. She has since been voted out of office, but those who choose hate and to deny their neighbors have since been reminded that as long as it's legal, there's little recourse for inserting personal feelings into policy. It's clear that this agenda item has been written to be palatable for the masses, but is also publicly stated that this agenda item is intended to suppress the voices of the community. This council now has to decide whether the loudest voices complaining about wokeness speak for all of you in that way. And as to quote this morning's prayer, if that means loving all of us for who we are. This council now has to decide if 35 years of the Fresno Pride Festivals or over 170 years of California public library systems are now new and woke, or if they're just part of the fabric of our city. This council now has to decide whether legally excluding the voices of so many of its constituents should be policy. All we ask is that you as council members remember the quiet voices of the community that you represent. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name's
is Catherine Burrell, and I came because I got an email alerting me about this, proposition, or however you put it here. I haven't been to a county or a city council meeting in many years, but I feel strongly that our voices shouldn't be curtailed by just, what do we have here, 7 or 8 people? That those voices and the processes that are already in place are enough for us to move forward with what's okay. In the times that we have that are right now, it's important that we consider that our individual values are important, but everyone's individual values are important, not just, and this is the word that caught when Mr. Nerland was speaking, because that where he put in our values. And so I'm curious as to what you consider those values to be. You know, it's not, your values are not necessarily the values of all of your constituents, and your truth is not necessarily the truth of everyone else. What's true for you may not be true for me. You may love apples, they may be the best fruit in the world, and I may be deadly allergic. So I encourage you to really consider censorship, which is basically what this is agreeing to in some form or another. And in these times, we are being challenged to assert ourselves and to stand up as a common person, as people who are here to represent their constituents and not a specific religion or set of their own values. I do agree that it's important to protect people, but one of the ways that you do that is by, if you don't like a book, don't read it. If you don't like a movie, don't go see it. If you don't want a parade, you don't want to be in a parade, don't be in the parade. Don't go to the parade. You have personal choices that you can make and not impose your views and your morals and mores upon the people, the other people of this country. It's just not appropriate. Thank you.
Okay, you're the last speaker.
Me? Or-
Yeah, no, you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Clarice Morris, and I agree with many of the points.
She's the last speaker.
Why did we didn't stand up? I want to talk too.
Well, what did I say? I said if you want to speak, get in line. You didn't get in line, it's too bad. That's the last speaker.
Don't raise your voice to me. That's one thing that you're not allowed to do.
Hey, if you don't quit talking, we're going to ask you to leave.
You're going to boot me out because I had a free speech.
Go ahead and talk.
In line, but I don't want to stand that long.
I have cramps in my legs, I swear to God. It hurts. Stand very long.
Can you stop
I
my
said
time?
that's the last speaker, and
Can you
that's
stop
it.
my time, please? Can you stop my time? Please stop my time. Please, thank you.
Go ahead and talk.
Well, I don't want to be talked over. I'm sorry. I expect
that's all right.
respect.
We'll
I
give you
expect to
3
be listened
minutes
to.
now.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. So I am a grandparent, a retired teacher, as well as one of the speakers that just spoke. And I always believed that if I had books that my parents didn't want their children to read, then they would not be presented with those books. So I don't think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up books because that's really not what this is about, but it was brought up. So it's a passion of mine. I don't believe in banning books. But I also believe that you should respect and honor your employees who are already doing these events that they believe are important. I don't think they need to be micromanaged. I'm sure they're very capable and skilled employees. So it seems like an extra burden for you and for them. And as a taxpayer, I don't want my money being spent unnecessarily. So I guess my big reason for being here is people can make choices. We don't need all our choices to be micromanaged. I can choose, as some of the speakers have already said, to go to something or not to go to something. when I take my children to the library, if I think there's a book that's not acceptable, then they're not going to get it. We don't need to hide things away. And I think families like this young family that was just here need to be represented, and they need to be felt like they belong and not vilified. So I would hope you would continue with the system you have already and not adopt one of these resolutions. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. That was the last speaker.
Are you denying my right to?
No, I asked you to stand in line if you were going to talk.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Rocha Salazar. I'm a member of Fresno County.
Hey, I'm going to have
this
to
is
ask you
the
to
first
sit down.
time- This is the first time I've been to a meeting, and I came really just to observe.
They'll bring us back to the board.
Long as city council being our record.
Violation of rights.
Yeah, we'll close the public hearing, we'll start talking. Anybody want to?
Yeah, I'll kick us off. So I appreciate everyone being here today and speaking. And I think what's really important is the county does need to be all-inclusive. And I received some phone calls and received emails as well about this. And I want all of our departments to be able to participate in events throughout the county. But I think what the question is here at the county, what is the county going to be celebrating? And I think those things that the county celebrates outwardly when you come to our offices need to be things that are all-inclusive. I know a few years ago there was some controversy about a policy that we put together, which was very broad when it came to what flags are we going to fly here at the county. And the flags that we said there's two flags, the U.S. flag and the state flag. And the reason that we limit it to two flags is because the U.S. flag represents all of us. The state flag, if you're a Californian and we're here in California, represents all of us. So I think that we need to continue those things, celebrate those things which represent all of us. So one of the areas that I'm kind of leaning into is there are federal holidays that are recognized and celebrated. So I think outwardly, to the extent our departments want to do that, I can support that. And there's a number of resolutions that we issue at every meeting celebrating different things that different departments want to celebrate. I have no issues if this board approves that those things are celebrated. The voice of the people of Fresno County are represented right here because we have elections every 4 years, and the public picks the five of us to be the voice of Fresno County and to represent them. And there are many diverse people here, so I think what we do with this particular policy needs to represent all of Fresno County as much as possible. And so that's going to be the angle that I'm going to be leaning into as I make my decision.
You want go ahead, Luis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, our CEO, for bringing this forward. And I think it was time that we had a conversation about this. I did read the options that we had. We did speak yesterday, CEO. I did want to have a conversation with our staff with regards to what this would look like. I'll just be very upfront. I'm not going to support any additional censorship or restrictions on giving our staff discretion. I think there's a time where, as policymakers, we have to balance that and separate the politics from the administration and let our professional staff do their job. There are too many events here in the Central Valley because we're such a rich, diverse, even in communities across Fresno County. So it's almost impossible to capture. And I was going through the list on one of the options. I think, Sia, you and I spoke yesterday. I don't see on the list that we have here, Hmong New Year celebration or the Punjabi Sikh temple celebrations that we all attend. So it's almost impossible to codify that. And I don't want to be in the space where we're discriminating against one group in favor of another, because I think one of the things that's very, evident is when everybody walks in through those doors to the right, you see the pictures of the people that have been here. None of us are going to be here permanently. At some point, we're going to move on. And so I want to give that discretion to our professional staff so that they are able to do outreach under the umbrella of, improving the health here of our community. I also want to say that I don't think our colleagues got it wrong with what process you guys have had in the past. I think what you guys came up with previously was a good model. And so for me, I'm not going to support any additional restriction. I'm certainly not going to support censorship and, making the call on allowing staff to celebrate one thing but not the other. I think it opens us up for liability and exposure, and that's not something that I want to go down the path of. So I think the best way to wrap it up is, we have professional staff, whether they're in public health, they're in social services, that were trained and capable of making these decisions, and I have confidence in them. They're not going to embarrass us. I know that oftentimes, a policymaker is not in agreement with certain things that are done, but at the end of the day, we're supposed to represent one community. And I know that the decision that was made to celebrate Pride, the parade and the services there were done under the umbrella of health determinants. I did see the data. Although Supervisor Bredefeld doesn't like to, condoms and lube do prevent STDs. They do prevent, diseases from being passed on, which is a role that our folks should have. And I'm supportive of them going out there and doing outreach. I'm also supportive of them going out to the Hmong New Year to do outreach if we're seeing an uptick in certain diseases for our Southeast Asian population or with our Indian, Punjabi, Sikh folks too. So I don't think we were able to capture that in a list. I think that list would go on for pages and pages. And so I do want to rely on the judgment. I trust you, Paul. I trust our staff to make those calls. And so I'm not going to support any additional restrictions and certainly not any more censorship. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go next. Give Supervisor Butterfield the last. I too would echo the comments of Supervisor Chavez. I believe that we represent all the people and we should be neutral up here and not be political. And this tends to go political. When I read the list here of the holidays, let's just go over it. We're going to recognize New Year's Day. We're going to recognize Martin Luther King Day. We're going to recognize President's Day, Cesar Chavez Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. And that's it. And I believe, like Supervisor Chavez, we are too broad to do many things. Last week, him and I had an event in Central Fresno. It was a one-stop shop for the food vendors, and it was with the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation. That's not on the list. Yet many of our departments were there providing information and resources. So because they're not on the list, they're no longer allowed to participate in those events. And I completely disagree with that. I don't believe our CAO should take the fall for us. If there is a decision to make, we should make it. But I agree with Supervisor Chavez. Our department heads have done it. I personally do not agree with everything that they do or that they promote. I want to make that clear. However, they are our staff. They're a professional. They have more information than we do, and they should make those decisions regarding public health or whatever event that is. They've done it in the past, and I too disagree that we're going to micromanage because we can't think of everything that we're going to do all year, and people are going to be left out, and we should represent all the people, not our personal beliefs, because as the one speaker said, her values are not my values, and who am I to say she's right and I'm wrong? And I don't want to go down that path. I don't want to do this. I will not be supporting any action of this, but I certainly will not default to the CAO, because if there's a decision to make, I'll make my own. I don't need him to be the fall guy for me. And I will leave it at that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all the comments. Supervisor Magzik mentioned flags. This board, prior board, made the determination that there will only be 2 flags flying. The city of Fresno said they would have the gay pride flag. I disagree with it. I was the only no vote. This board made a decision that the gay pride flag should not fly outside this building. I agree with that. Only government flags should be flying outside those buildings. So you made a decision. Those people who support that would say you're not inclusive. You made a decision that wasn't inclusive, but you made the decision because you thought it was the right thing to do. I think you did make the right decision. So we're making these decisions all the time. This elected Board of Supervisors, all 5 of us, are responsible for setting policies that ensure taxpayer money is protected, that it's spent wisely and appropriately. We're responsible for the financial and economic stability of county government, the safety of the public, and the security of families in our community. At our last board meeting, in reaction to thousands of dollars being inappropriately spent on rainbow condoms and lubes at a gay pride parade, a majority of the board set a policy that ensured any future expenditures by a department wanting to be used for community events is first approved by the board. That's our responsibility. The buck stops with this board. Agreed, not with the CAO, with this board. We're all elected to represent over 1 million people. Now, I said publicly, and I still feel, county public health has a role and a responsibility to be at the gay pride parade and hand out information that's informative, that helps people keep safe. What they're not responsible to do is use taxpayer money to hand out condoms and lube to people who are adults and can buy their own damn condoms and lube. You don't need to hand it out. You need to educate people that obviously using condoms is probably a thing to do to stay safe. Public health has that role. I support that role, but I don't support taking taxpayer money and handing it out. That's advocacy. I disagree with it. And this board, a majority, agreed that county departments should have to come before the board to do that. That's the right policy. Today, we're addressing a similar issue in that this board sets the policy for what holidays will be recognized in the county. Now, obviously, we recognize federal holidays. It's important to celebrate President's Day, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, recognize the service and sacrifice of our great veterans who, through their sacrifice, have ensured all the freedoms we have in this great nation. We recognize the great Dr. Martin Luther King and his fight for civil rights, and so many other federal holidays. All are very appropriate to do so, and because this body recognizes that, we can recognize that in departments, in libraries, as has been done for decades. We also recognize important community events that take place, such as breast cancer awareness, the incredible work of Marjorie Mason Center, and so many other important events and issues that we recognize. We do so with proclamations and resolutions. We just did that today with National Health Center Week and Safety Week. Because this board approved that by a majority, if there are departments that want to recognize that, that's appropriate to do so. I fully support it. However, over the last 4 years, it's been very divisive, and radical ideologies have been injected into this community and throughout the country, often focused on the innocent and impressionable children. Gender ideology, the phony notion that there are more than 2 genders, men playing in women's sports, the stupidity of people coming up with their own pronouns, the trans movement resulting in the mutilization of children's genitals, all of those who support this and quote gender-affirming care try to normalize this insanity. It's not normal, it's destructive. It's my strong belief that this board, comprised of elected leaders representing over 1 million people, need to stop allowing this divisive and political ideology to be celebrated within any county department. Specifically, this has been occurring for many years in our county libraries with Gay Pride Month. During the month in June, libraries have promoted bookshelves full of books promoting the gay lifestyle for children as young as 4, right at the entrance of the library. They have huge stickers throughout the library celebrating Gay Pride Month every June. I encourage people, look at those books for young children at 4, and they put the bookshelf right at the door as you walk in. Now, I think that's inappropriate, and I think all of us should stand up and say that's not okay. Libraries should be for educating, and it should be a safe environment for children, not promoting a political gender ideology. And that's what's happening right now. Promoting events like Pride Month within our county libraries is promoting a political agenda and content that does not belong in public learning spaces, particularly those meant for children. Children are innocent, impressionable, and we want to keep them innocent. And those displays and often graphic materials are inappropriate for young children. You can call it lacking inclusive and all the other nonsense, but that's what it is. Our children deserve to learn in environments that are free from any political agenda. Rather, these environments should be unifying, reflect our shared American values, honor our history, promote civic understanding, and bring people together like it's been for decades and centuries. If parents or young adults want to get the books that are focused on homosexuality or gender ideology, those books will still be in the library on shelves and can be obtained by those who seek them. There's no banning of books. The books are there. But those books should not be promoted or forced upon young children under the guise of Pride Month. I wonder how people would feel who are on the gay pride movement side if we had a bookshelf full of religious books and put that in the front.
Right.
I wonder if they'd be saying, that's perfectly okay, you're being inclusive. No, they wouldn't, because that doesn't jibe with their agenda. This radical gender ideology, promotion of the gay and trans movement, and frankly, woke BS must stop in the county libraries. Our children must be protected, and this policy will do that. If Supervisor Chavez wants to promote Gay Pride Month, he can bring a resolution. If this board supports it by majority, then this policy says that can be promoted in the libraries. If he can get 3 votes to do that, that's okay. We're all accountable. We should be accountable for what we do. If there is no resolution, no proclamation, then you can't promote something that you just want to do on your own. This board sets the policy for everything. Whether the department heads at the library like it or not, this body is responsible for what happens in this county. And so we are celebrating events in this community all the time. We do majority proclamations, and if we sign those, department heads and departments are free to go and celebrate those things because this body has acknowledged it. But if we do not do that, then you don't get free rein to promote some gender ideology, political ideology, because you like it. The buck stops here. It doesn't stop with the CAO, it stops here. This option, Board Approval 1, says that if you have a proclamation or a resolution that is supported by a majority, and it needs to be stated by a majority of this board, then you're free to celebrate that in the library or the department. That happens all the time. So this is coming down to dealing with whether we're going to support this radical political gender ideology that impacts young, impressionable children in libraries, or we're going to let the libraries be free of all of that. And just as it used to be, you come in, it's a free, safe environment to just pursue the books you want. If you want to pursue books that are related to that, the bookshelves are there. You can do it. But we've got to stop promoting this stuff. We got to stop trying to indoctrinate children. And it's happening in the libraries. It's been a long time. And to say it hasn't is a lie. It has. And so, board, I know 2 people aren't going to support it. I'm going to make a motion to support option 1, which clearly says the buck stops here with this board. And we will acknowledge our federal holidays, and people will continue to do resolutions. And if it's passed by a majority of the board, department heads are free to celebrate what we acknowledge. But if this board does not approve Gay Pride Month, it's not going to happen in the libraries. And I'm going to hold the CAO accountable to make sure this comes to an end if this board supports that. So my motion is to adopt option 1.
Okay, I'll hold your motion until we get done.
Mr. Chairman, I just have one clarification. So are you stating, Mr. Butterfield, as was brought up, like for the Hmong New Year, an event with the Sikh temple, our one-stop shop that we did 2 weeks ago, that we're required to bring a proclamation prior to that event in order for the county to participate in those events? Is that, to me, that's what we're saying, because I realize you're focusing on Pride Month. I'm focusing on everything else. So if we're going to have the county participate at a Confia event or something like that with the Fresno Area Hispanic Foundation, according to this, myself or any member of the board is required to bring a resolution or a proclamation prior to the event in order for the county to participate in that event.
No, the county, as I said, can participate in the Gay Pride parade if they want. I think that's a perfectly appropriate use to do that. A Hmong celebration and all of that, I don't think you need to bring a resolution to do that. But if you want to promote something going on in the library as has been going on, that is not going to be allowed unless there is formal approval by this board.
Can I go, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
yeah, keep going.
So I'm a little, again, I want clarification.
Sure.
So on one hand, you're stating you're okay with the county participating in the Gay Pride Parade. You're
Public
really
Health Department.
upset about them distributing materials at the event, is my
Using,
understanding.
no, not distributing materials.
For me, you need to, can you
No,
clarify that
not,
for me?
I support them distributing materials.
You
I
just-
don't support them spending taxpayer money to buy rainbow condoms and lube and handing that out.
So you're talking more about pamphlets and brochures and
Yeah,
those
they
kind
hand
of
that
things?
information. I fully support that. That makes sense. That's their role.
I would tend to agree with that, yeah.
Okay.
I think, again, we'll see what the will of the board is, but I think that's going to cause a lot of confusion as to what our staff can and aren't allowed to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Well,
because if I'm a department head and I hear this and I'm thinking, okay, well, if we don't have a resolution, we can't participate, yet you're saying you can participate, but don't pass out those promotional things, or, how do you define what you can and can't do?
What we said last time in the administrative order that we passed, you cannot be spending money for those events unless it's approved by the board. That's very clear. So that doesn't preclude them from, for example, public health doing its job and attending and handing out materials that are informational to people, which is different than handing out rainbow condoms and lube to people who should be buying their own condoms and lube.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just state that all of that material is taxpayer funded, whether it's a brochure or whatever, it's still all being originated from the same dollars.
Well,
So it's hard to, I understand your differential, I fully understand that, but I'm saying, you're putting our staff in a very difficult position as to what is okay and what is not okay.
well, I think
You and I would understand,
I
but our
understand.
staff would have a little bit harder time.
Well, I think when staff does some of what they did, they're creating some of the confusion themselves.
Yeah.
It isn't us. But as I said, the
No,
bottom
you're-
line,
You're done.
the bottom line stops with us.
Maybe
The-
help us out.
The bottom line stops with us.
I 100% agree with that.
Any more outbursts, you're gonna leave,
All right,
okay?
thank you, Mr. Chairman, yeah,
All right, yeah, thank you for
appreciate that.
clarifying that, because right now, what normally happens, I'll let you speak in a second, yeah, what normally happens.
So today, departments are given discretion. I mean, my expectation of them, again, is that it's consistent with the mission, the vision, the values of the county. As Supervisor Bedefeld said, if it is now an event where they need to pay. So if we're talking about if there's a cost to participate in something, that now has to come to your board per admin policy 80. But when it comes to other matters, whether it's a theme in the library or whether it's an event that a county department is focusing or celebrating, my expectation is consistent with our vision and our values, which of course does include outreach to various communities, and they're using good judgment in doing so. That's the current policy.
Yeah. So it's a little bit ambiguous, but, actually, it doesn't fall very far from where Gary's at, theoretically.
Well, admin policy 80, again, they'll come back, but when it comes to other events or themes that may be celebrated, they're using their judgment, they're accountable to me
Right.
in doing that, but there's no process where it comes back to your board.
And then there's a difference between spending money to pass out literature to literally sponsoring the event. I mean, those are two different things.
They are, but I think under admin policy 80, and this might go to Supervisor Pacheco's comment, departments are going to bring that regardless. So if they're going to participate in the Pride Parade, there is a cost to do so that will be coming to your board under admin policy 80 currently.
I don't know if there's, go ahead.
I'm trying to I'm trying to
I know,
understand.
I'm having the same
I'm trying to
problem.
understand. So yes to doing outreach to the Gay Pride Parade, no to the lube and condoms.
You got it.
That's what you're getting at.
Nailed
The
it.
county emblem on it.
Okay.
You nailed it.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty. I think that's one of the things, Supervisor, he's very direct and honest on there. I do have a question for our CAO because you're in charge of administrating the libraries. But correct me if I'm wrong, as a result of what happened last year with the policy of the book conversation and banning books, there was some state legislation that came down that we are now under that, correct? So we essentially got that authority removed by the state, and we're supposed to showcase LGBTQ books in our library. Is that correct, Teo?
There was legislation that affected the Parents Matter Act that was passed by this board about a year and a half ago. And basically, that would have meant putting some of that material in a different location away from young children. That is something that law said you cannot do. And so it wasn't speaking to the themes or the promotions. It was speaking to movement of those books or in any way changing how they're displayed.
We still have them in our libraries. They
Correct.
did not get banned.
No.
But it's now we're talking about the placement of, and I think as we talk more about this, the more confusing it gets. And that's the point I was making earlier, that we have like hundreds of events that our public health officials have to go through, and it's all dependent. It's not set at the beginning of the year. I think the pandemic showed us that, where there were certain communities that were getting hit hard by COVID. We had to do outreach with our African American community because they had a high incidence of, death rates and other, conditions that affected them. And so I think for me, it's impossible. And again, I'll repeat, I trust the judgment of our public health folks and our DSS folks and our staff to make that decision. This is something very eerie for me to try to censor or limit people and say that one group of ideals and values are okay, but the other ones are not, and therefore should be censored. I think that's counterproductive to a representative democracy, and that's really at the heart of my issue with this. So I think I've made my point very clear. I do not support any additional regulations. I think our folks got it right this last year. I think we should continue that and use our good judgment. I know for a fact that our staff is not going to go out and promote the porn week, which, by the way, they do have that. I looked it up. There's a porn week celebration, and there's hamburger day, and there's donut day, and there's the, alpaca day. And so I think it's hard to codify all that, and it makes it very difficult for professional staff to actually navigate and be professionals in that setting. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Again, I think what we're looking at, if we look back at the agenda item itself, we're looking at how departments recognize celebrations. And so I look at Halloween. Halloween is not on this list, but I know in the past departments have celebrated Halloween and they have competitions against each other. Well, ultimately, there would need to be a resolution or modification to take place to celebrate Halloween, which I'm not opposed to. So I've heard from constituents in the past who've had concerns about departments who get dressed up and spend money on things like Halloween. So I know we're focusing on libraries, and you focused on the fact that there's Porn Week. We don't have a policy in place that technically would prevent Porn Week if that was brought forward. Since in the absence of any kind of a policy that this board sets, if a department had felt that it was appropriate and they were reaching a segment of constituents, then what's to keep anything from happening? I do support this, and we must be all-inclusive, and that's why having events and celebrations and proclamations to recognize certain things is the most public and transparent way to go. I've received concerns from constituents about certain things that this county has done. I'm one who believes in serving the most people possible. And so I can second Gary's motion based upon that. But again, what we're doing is we're not looking at trying to keep departments from going out to events. Is the county going to sponsor those events in the absence of this board's approval? No, they cannot. Are they going to be limited to hand out material? No. If it's general material that's handed out to the public generally, those materials need to continue to be handed out because we serve the entire public. But when it comes to what departments are celebrating and how they do that, I think this board needs to have final say on that.
Agreed. Okay. So are you seconding his motion? Yeah, I'm kind of getting like Supervisor Chavez. We've kind of beat this horse to death here. One thing I would like, you guys made that motion, I recognize that. If we could look at, option one a little bit deeper word, and I don't think it would be, I think it's in its scope that they could, at the beginning of the year, ask for a list, actually put out a list of stuff that they would ask you, hey, we want to, in the coming year, we want to celebrate this. Would that be part of it?
So with with option one, it would be either once per year or 6 months, whatever that may be, that I'm expecting departments would come in and just bring a list on the consent agenda. Here's what we'll be celebrating or participating in, and your board could approve that or not.
Right.
Yep.
Because I think this thing has gotten kind of beyond the scope of what we've been talking about. I mean, I respect everybody's opinion, here, because we've got, the opinion of all sides. But it gets to the point that, what are we talking about here? I mean, it's getting blown way out of proportion. Anyway, that's what I think, But on option one, it would still be where the departments could actually forward you a list every year or every 6 months or whatever, 6 months before, and say, here's what we want to celebrate this year.
Yes, but it would still come to your board under option one. And what I would, if the majority of your board supports that, what I would recommend is that you direct me to come back with a policy. There's been some good questions raised here about making sure this is clear. And what I could do then is come back, and I'd probably ask your board for some flexibility that you would give me because of timing. There's going to be things that you brought up may come up quickly where there's not a board meeting scheduled, and you would give me some discretion in that too. So if the majority of your board supports that, that would be a recommended next step, is to come back with a policy.
An actual policy.
Correct.
We're not talking about all this theoretical stuff.
Yes.
Where there's all this confusion about really what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah,
Along option one.
yeah. So it'd be a expansion, do you agree, an expansion of
Yeah.
trying to do a policy off of
Yeah.
option one?
Yes, off of option one with approval by a majority of the board. And I think, having, as Supervisor Magzik said, transparency on what the departments are wanting to do and celebrate, I think is great for everybody involved. And then it would have to be through board approval, and we'll get the clarification on that. I think people know exactly where I'm coming from, and I'm not trying to preclude anybody from
No.
doing a Hmong
Yeah.
thing or being at the Public Health Department, being at the Gay Pride Parade, because they have a role there. So I think we're understanding that.
So that'll be the motion then,
Yes,
yeah.
along with option
Second that
one.
motion. So this is still gonna,
Develop.
the saga continues.
But I want to be clear,
Yeah.
we are approving option one with a majority of the board, and you will bring clarification back on the holidays for the departments that they want to celebrate, and they will be approved by the board.
Yeah.
Right, so
just-
it'll have to be approved again.
So I just want to clarify, is that the majority vote? So,
Yeah, no, that's all right, we ain't voting yet.
okay.
Okay,
So that's the motion?
yes.
Okay, and you're gonna second that motion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
No.
Okay, it passed 3-2.
Okay, then I will come back.
That's just to bring the policy back.
Correct. So I will come back with a draft policy for your review.
Yeah. What's that? Okay, thank you. I don't have any problems with that.
We now move to item number 10, under Administrative Office and Social Services, conduct public hearing to receive testimony to the Regionally Coordinated Homelessness Action Plan for the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care Service Area. Approve the Regionally Coordinated Homelessness Action Plan, including the use of homeless housing assistance and provision Round 6 grant funding allocated to the County of Fresno and the FMCOC. Authorize the Department of Social Services to submit a joint application on behalf of the County of Fresno with the FMCOC for the HAB-6 grant funding administered by the California Department of Housing and Community Development.
Good morning, Board. We do have a presentation. Not sure if that is getting projected. Anyway, Dylan McCulley, Homelessness Program Manager with the County Administrative Office. The item before you today is the Regionally Coordinated Action Plan, which is part of the funding application for the 6th round of Homeless Housing Assistance and Prevention Grant, or HAP-6. Nice. So regional jurisdictions are required to develop a homelessness action plan and submit a single joint application for HAP-6 funds. Additionally, jurisdictions are required to engage with key stakeholders and conduct a minimum of 3 community meetings. The regional partners conducted 6 meetings, 2 of which the county took lead on, one in the city of Mendota and the other in the city of Selma. Feedback from those meetings was helped to inform the development of our action plan. That would help. Thank you. Additionally, each jurisdiction in the region is required to commit to the homelessness action plan by entering into a formal MOU. The County of Madera and City of Fresno approved the MOU in July, and approval of the MOU is part of the recommended actions before your board today. The Homelessness Action Plan outlines the roles and responsibilities of each jurisdiction in addressing homelessness in the region, which is consistent with the CSAC at-home plan adopted by the board in June 2023. These roles and responsibilities are listed here on the slide. Additionally, the plan identifies 7 system performance measures provided by the state and drawn from various data sources, including the Homelessness Management Information System, which is a system where local homelessness service providers input data. The regional partners evaluated this data and developed a system improvement plan with benchmarks to be met by the end of the HAP 6 grant period, ending in June 2029. Some of those benchmarks include reducing unsheltered homelessness by 5%, increasing exits to permanent housing by 15%, and reducing first-time homelessness by 5%. To meet those system performance measures, each jurisdiction is required to identify key actions that will help improve the overall system performance. So those include actions in service delivery, housing placements, and access to housing and services. Additionally, the county has identified key actions to reduce the number of people entering homelessness, exiting from institutional settings. The HAP 6 regional funding allocation is approximately $20.6 million. The county will receive an allocation of $4.3 million, the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care $5.2 million, the city $10.5 million, and the County of Madera $610,000. A minimum of 10% of all funds must be dedicated to youth services, and a maximum of 7% may be used for administrative costs. The HAP 6 cross-jurisdictional funding plan supports a variety of services, with the majority of funds supporting the interim shelter programs at approximately 67% of total funds. Other funded activities include rental assistance, prevention and diversion, street outreach, as well as other ancillary services and administrative costs. I wanted to highlight that new with the HAP 6 program, the requirement to demonstrate how interim shelter capacity would be maintained through the end of the grant period required that funding be dedicated in large part to the shelter capacity in the community to meet that benchmark. The County of Fresno serves as the administrative entity for the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care and will manage a combined allocation of $9.5 million on behalf of the county and FMCOC. Similar to the cross-jurisdictional plan, the largest funding category is interim shelter, but also includes significant investments in rental assistance, street outreach, and prevention and diversion programs. I'll now turn it over to Laura Moreno to cover some of the services supported with HAP funds. Thanks, Laura.
Good morning. I am Laura Moreno, Division Chief with the County of Fresno Department of Social Services, and I also serve as the chair of the Fresno Madera Continuum of Care. So what we want to do is to give you an idea of where these funds are used. We talk about the dollars, but actually talking about services to people experiencing homelessness. So the first one is a Triage Center Emergency Shelter Service, and this is run by Turning Point of Central California. It is the Welcome Center, and the dollars fund 30 emergency shelter beds that assist individuals and families experiencing homelessness. It includes wraparound services for those at the shelter. Maximum length of stay is 90 days, and it also serves as an access site. So folks who come to the shelter seeking services and there is no bed, they can assist them in looking for other appropriate services. The next one deals with special populations, and it is Triage Shelter Services, Emergency Shelter Services, specifically at the Marjorie Mason Center. And so this focuses on victims of domestic violence, and it funds the Safe House, 5 rooms, which include 15 county-funded beds for emergency shelter for individuals and families experiencing homelessness due to domestic violence. The program provides intensive case management services that focuses on ensuring that individuals are safe, that they can overcome the barriers to attain permanent housing, and maximum length of stay is 90 days. Youth Bridge Housing is Sanctuary Transition Shelter, and that's currently run by EOC, Fresno EOC, and it includes 12 beds for emergency shelter for youth, which is 18 to 24 years of age, experiencing homelessness. The program also ensures that youth who are unsheltered and it really is for youth that are unsheltered and not appropriate for the other shelters that are open to those of various ages who are adults. So this is specifically targeting 18 to 24-year-olds and is a program suited for that age range. The program ensures that youth who are unsheltered have a place to stay and have a place to be, and again, maximum length of stay on this program is 4 months. I will say that for the shelter programs, they do have limits, but if the household requires something a little extra, then that can be approved if they require a little extra time. The last one that we're showcasing is the Master Leased Housing and Rapid Rehousing Program. This is a partnership with the Fresno Housing Authority for 42 units available to families with children. So this is a specific focus for the county for families with children. And the families can stay for about 12 months. Again, it can go a little longer if it's needed, but it's 12 months of rapid rehousing. So it is rental assistance to help a family to become self-sufficient, to overcome barriers, and to access permanent housing on their own. And there is also on-site rapid rehousing case management services previously provided by RH Community Builders, but now being provided by Poverello House starting in fiscal year 24-25. Dylan?
So I also wanted to cover the Kingsview Path program. So this is also partially HAP funded and includes our rural street outreach team. This program is intended to meet people where they are and provide linkages to available resources in the community, including behavioral health and housing services. We work closely with the Kingsview team when responding to homeless encampments in unincorporated areas of Fresno County. Finally, next steps. So should your board approve this item, the county would submit a single application for all jurisdictions by the deadline of August 29th. Once the application is approved, the state will issue a funding agreement, which will return to your board for approval likely later this year. HAP funds will be applied to existing agreements already approved by your board or upcoming for diversion, outreach, and youth services. Through the adoption of this MOU and implementation of the HAP-funded services, the county and its regional partners will continue its work to address and end homelessness in the region. Laura and I are available for any questions.
Okay, questions from the board? If there's no questions, I'm going to ask for public comment.
Hello. This thing don't reach? All right. So I actually want to comment on some of this that was talked about right now. So the youth shelter, yes, they do have, but I don't know if you know that the youth shelter is only overnight. So we have 18 to 24-year-olds that get to go in about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. at night, and they have to be at 6 a.m. in the morning to go where? They don't know. They don't care. They're only at overnight service. So we're sending our youth out to the streets, you know, back to the trap houses, because it's the only place they have to go, because there's absolutely no activities for people 18 to 24 in Fresno. The rapid rehousing, actually the rapid rehousing they have at Monte Vista right now, I'm fighting for multiple families not to be kicked out by Fresno Housing Authority, because they picked them up, they put them into the flats. The flats, they got transferred over to Monte Vista Rapid Rehousing. Rapid Rehousing is supposed to be 30% or less, right? It's supposed to be subsidized. What they do is every quarter they raise their rent to where after a year, you're actually paying $14.50 for Monte Vista apartment. So this actually creates evictions. People can't pay. That's why they're unsubsidized. The HCV, 1 year later, they're promised, when they're picked up and put into Monte Vista, they're promised a Section 8 voucher, housing choice voucher. 1 year later, when their rent's $14.50, they're evicted without a housing choice voucher, and they're taken back to the flats. Okay? So go Kingsview. I love them. They're amazing. They should do all of Fresno County and city because, yeah, they're really good. The county outreach motel vouchers that you guys hand out, they're only 14 days. You guys come out and you pick everybody up out there from the tracks. You put them in for 14 days. Guess where they're at in 15 days? Back at the tracks. And then we're doing it. It's a cycle you guys have been doing for a year now that you've been handing out these vouchers. I mean, I don't understand why there's no reports that are handed to you guys to show that you guys are wasting money. We need to build stability. 14-day stay at the shelters is not going to help. Poverello House, actually, I'm going to bring this up really quick. Poverello House, I see, is on your MOU. They're currently in litigation right now for wage theft. So let's put that on the books, wage theft. HHAP cannot allow anybody that's in litigation, especially for wage theft, in the state of California. Attorney General Bonta received an email this morning in state of these, it's not allegations. You can find it in Fresno County Courthouse. Wage theft. This is something you guys will be playing a part of if you allow Poverello House to be part of this MOU. Wage theft. This is what you guys stand up for. And if we're actually going to make sure the taxpayers' money goes to where it's supposed to be, Brettafield, then I expect an investigation. Okay? Because you guys will be playing a part. And your attorney here, I hope that he looks into this. Wage theft is serious. And Bonta will hear that I did put it on in front of you guys today. So please do something with the money. They've been denying matches too, Poverello House. Please do an investigation.
Finish up. You done? Thank you.
Oh, buddy.
Excuse me. Okay. Sorry. I want to acknowledge the work that is done in this plan, which is tremendous, and we have a lot of difficulties with cuts in funding. There's so much that I can't address in 3 minutes on here as far as plans, but appreciate the collaboration with DSS, HAU to increase access to services and greater provision of services. One I really want to highlight is Key Action 9, allocating permanent housing for goals that include 137 supportive permanent housing beds, as well as the other efforts for permanent housing. This is our greatest need. Even though we have other needs that we need to address on here. According to the Fresno County Housing Element, we are thousands of units short in affordable permanent housing. And it is something, it is the main cause as well as the main need, according to study by USCF, is housing. So every effort needs to continue to be made, and having supportive housing is incredibly needed, as well as I hope that with the housing element, they mentioned that they're implementing programs, and I hope that that will increase that need. I was just asked about available housing by an unsheltered gentleman with health issues and disabilities. He has $1,200 in income a month and is struggling to find housing. And this is corroborated by someone from Fresno Housing that mentioned that in the shelters, the challenge is finding affordable housing, which is also increases the need for us to keep people in the shelters longer until they're able to access it because of the difficulty. We also need to recognize the impact that the rise in rent has contributed by many people, as those who are losing their housing that are elderly and disabled that are in fixed incomes. And appreciate the efforts to do so, but also recognition by the board that this is something that we need to approach things that are beyond this plan. Regarding encampment solutions, I can't speak for all the jurisdictions, but I want to raise opposition to information regarding the HART team. It says that HART follows policy regarding storage and gives a week's notice, following a structured and compassionate approach, and upholds a clear and respectful policy for handling storage of belongings and allowing individuals to get their belongings. the actual practices of heart do not reflect these statements, both in what a lot of people say and what we have witnessed, and even things, and actually creates impediments of housing as their important documents are thrown away, and even someone lost their prosthetic legs and we're told they don't care. Conversely, I have seen other jurisdictions, like the Sheriff's Department in one case, show compassion and actually helped a woman who had secured housing. So we need to plan that it respects the dignity of people, be realistic to challenges, and include accountability for all those working with those who are unhoused.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to end the, you going to speak? You're the last speaker.
Okay. So, what's it? They say like, okay, yeah, it started already, yeah, okay. They ask people what they fear, like, I think public speaking is like, right, I think I took a public speaking course in class at City College, and some people are so like well-versed at this point, and for whatever reasons, they come up here and they say like very, so some people aren't able to get through, but yeah, I think that there should be more time made to hear, because some people do have some very valid points, but some people come here and they're like very close to actors, and they're built this way because they, you know what I'm saying, they want to be this way, and that's what they made to be. But I think that, well, who cares what I think? Let me see. Is that, just a second. I got 2 minutes. I think when it comes to housing, there's so many people. I'm not really sure what, like, because I know like there's like millions and millions given to our county to use, and I'd like to know, like, it's probably interesting to know like the overhead spent, how many people like are hired, and what else? Okay. Basically, I just want to say that I think the money is spent like just very like loosely, and it's year after year we come over here, and I don't think it'd be nice if you guys really pay attention to how this money is being spent, because these people are very creative in getting this money, securing the bag, but they're not very worried of any like repercussions of not coming, like fulfilling the promises made when they apply for these grants. So could you guys, like, this is a lot of money being spent, could you guys take the time, just a little bit of time, to really like look at these papers, look at the things they're spending this money on? Because some of it could be very irresponsible, or just, they act like it's not their money, it's not your guys' money. You guys need to be more responsible the way you guys spend this money. It's just crazy. And yeah, how about that? I'll give you for all a few seconds.
Okay, I'll bring it back to the board. Yes.
Just a couple of comments. So I appreciate the public's comments on this, and I can tell you that the homeless need that we have in Fresno County is larger than the resources that we receive, and so we try to be as strategic. We try to be as strategic as possible. There were some comments and just some things I want to share, some resources that are available for young people between the ages of 18 and 24. At Fresno EOC, they have the local conservation corps, and in years past, they have received what's called the Youth Build program, where literally it's designed for individuals, youthful individuals that are unemployable or are looking for work, and it teaches them tremendous skills. And I've had an opportunity to work alongside that program. So I know there was some comments made about 18 to 24-year-olds specifically, and I want to throw out there are programs at Fresno EOC that serve that specific population, and I appreciate that. The FMCOC is tasked with something which is almost impossible. As we look at the point in time count, some things I want to point out. Overall, here at Fresno County, we did see a reduction in our homeless numbers county-wide, but we also saw increases in some of the metropolitan areas here in Fresno County. And so we are seeing a lot more people find themselves homeless. And so the resources that we have right now are falling because We're in tough times right now. And so I appreciate the work of the Department of Social Services, our Department of Public Health, and also Department of Behavioral Health, all working together with a continuum of care. And we need to continue these collaborative efforts. So with that, I will make a motion for staff's recommendation. We've had the public hearing, so again, I move for approval of staff's recommendation.
Thank you. You got a second? All in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 11. Under the Administrative Office, receive presentation from Code Enforcement staff providing a quarterly update on the Code Enforcement program.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, board members, Matt Constantine, County Administrative Office. I'm again joined with me this morning with Elisanya Harrison. In April, your board approved changes to the code enforcement program and specifically to improve the county's response to complaints received from the public about unmaintained and unsafe properties. Specifically, your board approved the structural reassignment of the code enforcement program to the County Administrative Office and authorized the addition of 7 positions and requested that we provide your board with quarterly updates. So over the last 3 months, the division has been recruiting and training new staff, and as of July 21st, we have now 5 new code enforcement officers and a staff analyst to help us with some of our legal enforcement cases. We've carefully vetted these new officers to ensure a balance between responsive customer service and enforcement of county ordinances. Over the next 3 months, we're going to be providing training through our professional organization. We're going to provide a thorough review of the county's land use and zoning ordinances and training specifically from our senior code enforcement officers, 2 of who are in the audience this morning, Amanda Barbarian and Luis Castellanos. They are instrumental in the training of these new officers. Upon completion of the training, each new code enforcement officer will assume a full caseload, and it remains our top priority to ensure that all calls for service are responded to immediately and all non-complying property owners achieve compliance quickly. With the incorporation of the code enforcement program within the County Administrative Office, we've also undergone a comprehensive review of all the different types of property-related complaints that we receive and all of the county departments that are typically involved. Historically, code enforcement, the sheriff's office, Public Works and Planning, and Public Health have all played a role in responding to code-related complaints. However, each of these departments have different reporting and enforcement criteria, some competing priorities, and at times have limited experience dealing with some of these issues. So what this approach leads to is dissatisfaction from the public, and it's confusing and it causes delays. So we've identified 4 areas of overlap that are causing these problems. We're actively working with County Council to make some changes in the ordinance, and it's our expectation that we will be before your board in September with some small changes in the ordinance that will allow code enforcement to assume a leadership role and responsibilities in these areas. It's our expectation that this is going to significantly improve customer service and the county's responsiveness and eliminate some of this duplication and confusion that exists. Finally, I'd like to end this quarterly report with a summary of some of our recent actions and some of the historic properties that we've had some issues with. It's important to note that each one of these sites that we're going to show you, we've carefully followed the progressive enforcement actions in the ordinance, and unfortunately, the property owners have not been responsive. County Council, specifically Kyle Roberson, has been instrumental in these specific cases that we've been successful on. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Ellie and let her walk you through some of these pictures.
Good morning, members of the board. Today, I would like to present a couple of properties that exhibited extreme health and safety violations. Due to these conditions, code enforcement intervened and took necessary action to address the issues and restore safety to the community. The primary objectives of our goal was to eliminate health and safety hazards, restore the property to a safe and sanitary condition, and prevent further violations. This included debris removal, vegetation management, and addressing structural concerns. The first property we see here is 1502 North Brawley. This property sits on almost 1 acre. This had a fire damaged property. It's a single-family residence. In addition to the structural damage, there were several unpermitted accessory structures, accumulated trash and debris, multiple inoperable vehicles, and illegally occupied recreational vehicles on site. The property owner was allowing several groups of individuals to live in several RVs in the backyard. These conditions posed a serious health and safety and fire hazards, not only to the occupants, but also to the neighboring, surrounding neighborhood.
Case by case fucking deal.
This was a property that went into foreclosure. We contacted the property owner, the new potential property owner, worked with him on a continuous basis, and he eventually ended up cleaning up the property on his own. The county did not incur any cost. Next one. This one. Oh. The next property we have here is 3665 West Belmont. This property sits on almost 0.74 acres. This was an open and vacant structure with trash and debris throughout the property. We initiated action. We contacted the property owner as well, and on this one, the property owner also took initiative and cleaned up the property. Again, no county cost incurred. 3815 North Hayes. This property, again, is a vacant, damaged property with a lot of trash and debris throughout. Had a lot of structural damage. Eventually, the property owner was notified. He worked with code enforcement officers, and he eventually cleaned up the property. Again, the county did not incur any cost. 5820 West Shields. This is an 18-acre property. We have other photos, but this one was a close-up with a lot of trash and debris throughout. The entire, I want to say about half of the property was full of junk and debris. Our code enforcement officers initiated contact with the property owner, who eventually cleaned up the property. Again, the county did not incur any cost on that one. 94 East Sussex Way. This property sits on 0.7 acres, 0.17 acres, apologies. They had trash and debris. It was home for homeless individuals. We also had inoperable vehicles. We had an RV that was occupied. We contacted the owner multiple times. We tried to get him into compliance, which was unsuccessful. The county ended up doing an abatement warrant to clean up the property. And the total cost for abatement was $12,838. 4355 North College. This is a property that sits in Old Fig Garden. It's less than an acre. It was a fire damaged property. It was abandoned for quite some time. It presented serious safety hazards. It had dead landscaping, dead trees, overgrown vegetation, an abandoned, unsecured swimming pool in the back.
I think, I know you have a long agenda ahead of you. We're just going to cut
Yeah.
through this. We have a lot of good success stories. We wanted to give you a flavor on
Okay,
some of
but
those.
I really think what you need to do, instead of just come to the board, you give a short report. You want to give this, give it to the supervisors individually.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Perfect.
That really
Okay,
concludes our
just got
presentation.
one question
Yes.
real quick. Are you still a complaint-driven system, like you don't, so in other words, I'm gonna have to go around and complain, or you'll never fix some obvious, Captain Obvious stuff that needs to be fixed? Is that true?
Yes, sir. That is true in general. Yes, that's the process. We're more reactive than proactive, but yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay.
You've done a great job as far as my district is concerned. Where before we had thousands of open code enforcement cases, and I know that when it comes to resources, you cover 6,000 square miles. So you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Thank you.
Yes, and I want to echo that. I think you're doing a terrific job with, the few resources that you have at the city. There's, 100 people in this department. You have a bunch of city attorneys who are there helping. I think when the new county counsel, Doug Sloan, comes, code enforcement is under him, so I think he'll be a great resource for you. But just want to let you know, my office is very happy with your efforts, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Brian?
No, I think you're doing great in District 1. I think when you come back in 3 months, there was a tremendous backlog. I understand in our report, you said they had 200 new ones, but you didn't say anything about your backlog or where you are now. That should be updated in the next 3 months.
Yeah, and that's more important to do on a quarterly deal. I mean, this is something, I encourage you to do this with each individual supervisor,
Thank you. Will do.
okay? Thank you.
We now move to item number 12, under Administrative Office, conduct first hearing to amend the master schedule of fees, charges, recover costs ordinance by amending Section 4400 Enterprise Zone Activities to rename Section 4400 to Section 4400 County Administrative Office, and adding subsection 4402 Code Enforcement hourly rates to adopt hourly rates for code enforcement activities, waive reading of the ordinance in its entirety, and set the second hearing for August 19, 2025. Designate county council to prepare a fair and adequate summary of the proposed ordinance, and direct the clerk of the board to post and publish the required summary in accordance with Government Code Section 25124B1.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, this is very quick. This is establishing some rates so that we can start billing property owners that require additional time for us. The County Administrative Office, specifically Mary Lou Valencia, has been instrumental in getting this before your board. That really concludes our presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions from the board?
I'll move for staff's recommendation after public comment.
Yeah, is there any public comment on this item?
It's on code enforcement, right? I have a question. I want to know if you guys can add in there the shelters that you guys oversee and pay for, that your own county code enforcement goes out there. We had city check out some of the shelters. We have shelters that have like 48 code violations and they're still running. So the ones that you guys are actually paying for, if you can have your own code enforcement go out there, I think they might have a little bit different report than what city's giving. So if you can please, we have people, I can send you emails and pictures of what just happened the other day. A whole wall is full of mold when they took off the wallpaper. So this is a high concern that what is behind all of this wallpaper in the shelters.
Okay, I'd encourage you to send reports to him or to the county.
But it's in the city.
Well, we can't do anything if it's in the city.
I'm asking for you guys to go, because it's your shelter.
Well, one thing that can be done, Des, you have pictures, send an email to our entire board. We'll figure out whose district it is, and then we'll work with Matt to rectify what needs to be rectified. Thank you.
Okay, is there,
Close public.
yeah. Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
And I'll move for staff's recommendation on this one.
Get a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
We now move to item number 13 under Public Defender Office. Approve amendment to the salary resolution adding 2 defense attorney, 5 defense attorney 3, paralegal 1, defense social service 3, and defense investigator 2 to Public Defenders Org 2880 effective August 4th, 2025, as is reflected in Appendix C.
Good morning. Hopefully our agenda item will be short and sweet. This is Angel Lopez, my business manager.
Yes, good morning. We're here to notify the board of a discrepancy that we found in our salary resolution.
During our budget review, it was discovered that our positions didn't align with our budget numbers, and so we needed a reconciliation of that. HR informed us that some grant-funded positions expired, and consequently, we deleted in March of this year. And so in January, the CAO's office brought an item to go ahead and extend that grant, and they shouldn't have been deleted. And so that's the reason we're here today. These positions are tied to that grant funding, and they should have been extended with that grant funding. So at this time, we're requesting that your board approve the amended salary resolution to maintain compliance with the grant requirements. We're here for any questions that you might have.
And the good thing is it will not cost any more money.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve?
Well, I need to ask for public hearing on this deal. Okay, since there isn't, I got a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
We now move
Thank
to,
you.
thank you. We now move to item number 14, Public Works and Planning. Consider and approve petition for partial cancellation of agricultural land conservation contract number 3853 filed by Melissa White Holterman on behalf of GSW Farms.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alexander Pretzer, planner with the Department of Public Works and Planning. This item comes to your board with a recommendation for approval based on staff's ability to make all 5 of the required findings as discussed in the staff report. And staff notes that the accompanying variance application number 4138 was approved by your board at the July 8th, 2025 hearing. I have nothing further to add to this item unless you have any other questions.
Okay, is there any questions from the board? Is there any comment on this matter?
I'll just note the applicant's here and obviously is supportive of it, and they can answer questions if we have any.
Yeah, do we have any for them? No. Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, got a motion, and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
We now move to item number 15 under Public Works and Planning. Consider appeal of Planning Commission's denial of director review and approval application number 4660, proposing to allow maintenance and storage of trucks and trailers when such vehicles are devoted exclusively to transportation of agricultural products, supplies, and equipment on a 9.25 acre parcel.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alexander Pretzer, Department of Public Works and Planning. This item comes to you on appeal by the applicant of the Planning Commission's unanimous denial at its April 10th, 2025 hearing. Director review and approval application number 4660 proposes to allow the maintenance and storage of trucks and trailers when such vehicles are devoted exclusively to the transportation of agricultural
Just
projects.
stop you just for a quick second. Does anybody on the board have any ex parte communication? Okay, keep going.
At the April 10th, 2025 Planning Commission hearing, 6 individuals presented opposition to the project, citing concerns related to traffic, pedestrian safety, noise, noxious odors, conflict between the actual operation with what is on the applicant's operational statement, and the increase in the number of trucking operations in the nearby area. Additionally, the Commission received correspondence and petitions in opposition to the proposal. This concludes my presentation, and staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Is there any questions from the board? I'll now open the hearing to receive public testimony from the applicant, who may receive 5 minutes to make their initial presentation.
I am the property owner, and when we bought the property, there was, on the east corner, there was a trucking yard. Southeast, there was another trucking yard. And we're just trying to open a maintenance spot for the trucks to come in, drivers to come, park the trucks, go, and just turn them around. And for the noise, for the maintenance, the shop is fully insulated. They wanted us to put up 8-foot walls, brick wall. We're willing to do that. And then there are quite a few yards are in the mile radius of our previous property, our current property. So I was wondering if we could get an approval to get this going. We have not built anything on it yet. We're just waiting. It's been over 2-3 years now. That'll be it.
Okay, thank you. persons in favor of the appeal? Guess this would be, I guess, the neighbors that don't want it.
Good morning. Sorry about that. What troubles me, there are a lot of things that trouble me about this proposed project. But one thing that troubles me that I'd like to bring to your attention is the number of times the project description has changed. According to the staff report you've received, it started with a proposed 81 trucks and changed to a proposal of 22 trucks. The number of employees has changed from 12 office employees and 5 mechanics to 9 office employees and 3 mechanics. It just appears to me that these changes are an effort to get this off the ground, and if approved, they can pursue an expansion at a later date. The facility and the description of the facility has also changed significantly. Also, the applicant states that properties close by are operating this way, and I'd like to note that I only know of one that is operating that way legally. The rest are illegal, and we are trying to get these rectified one by one as they're popping up everywhere. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Juan Diaz, and my residence is about 1,600 feet south of this proposed location. First, I'd like to say that I totally support all the comments and concerns you've received. There's petitions that are attached to your staff report. As you may already know, Section 816 of the zoning ordinance states that the AE, which is the exclusive agricultural district, is intended to be an exclusive district for agriculture and for those uses which are necessary and an integral part of an agricultural operation. This district is intended to protect the general welfare in the agricultural community from encroachments of non-related agricultural uses, which by their nature would be injurious and physically and economic well-being of the agricultural district. I have a problem with those words there. Section 816.4F is uses expressly prohibited, and line item F refers to truck yards, terminals, or facilities devoted exclusively for the transportation of agricultural products, supplies, and equipment. I would like to let the applicant's operational statement that was submitted with the application speak for itself as to the intention of the applicants at this location. If you'll note at the bottom of the operational statement, it says that the business has been authorized by the Department of Transportation for carrier operations in interstate and carry cargoes, general freight, and refrigerated foods. I feel this business and such as the one before you today and those currently operating illegally are degrading and detrimental to our neighborhoods and to the agricultural districts in which we live. In closing, I'm going to ask that you support the decision made by your Planning Commission, who voted unanimously to deny the application. I thank you very much for your time.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other public comment?
Good morning. My name is Kathy Scher, and I do live on Brawley Avenue. I've been here, so far, it looks like 21, 22, 23, 24, and now 25. For people that are trying to put in non-agricultural parcels and making them public transition periods that should be down on Jensen Avenue, or maybe when the high-speed rail doesn't go through, they can get all that property and they can park there. I am very concerned because I see these trucks of 2 other operations that I've come to you beforehand with that have gone down Brawley with school starting in another couple weeks. It is becoming very clear that we cannot keep this going of having truck stops anywhere near school. The one that's right across the street from Madison, I realize that's not part of this right now. There have been times those trucks come out of that area and kids are dumb. They run out in the street because they see their parents on the other side. They don't always use the best knowledge that they have. I'm concerned because of the fact that we keep coming here and we keep getting a direction that says no more truck stops, yet here we are again for the fifth time in 5 years to come back and say, this is not right. I don't know how many more times we can come to you other than, again, in 26. For people that don't want to buy property that is rated for industrial use rather than going cheaper farmland, which is putting our farming community in a race, and I just can't understand it. I'm hoping that the Board of Supervisors finally realize what's happening out on the west side, and it's not just the west side, because there's more information we're finding out that there's more people that are buying on Brawley Avenue so they can put more truck stops in. It's getting crazy, and it's getting very dangerous, and I hope you help us out. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wants to speak, can you get up? No? Okay, you'll be the last speaker.
Hi, sorry. Don't want to be too redundant. My name is Rebecca Vivenzi, and I live within a mile of this property, approximately. I just want to say that we do keep coming to the county office to have to speak on these trucking operations that keep going in on agricultural land. They keep being imposters of agriculture, trying to state that they haul agricultural commodities that makes them part of the agricultural community, and that's not true. They do it intentionally. We are having issues with code enforcement, all of them understanding what agricultural is versus what a trucking operation is. I've had one of your code inspectors tell me when we file these complaints about these trucking operations that get approved, that they said it has a refrigerated unit on the trailer. That means they're hauling agricultural product. But the truth is, they're no more agricultural than a plumber is. And so my issue is, as it states in there, it should never have been brought to the county office for this portion as a DRA, because it does state there in section 816.1G, number 3, specifies that it's for the transportation of agricultural products, which are supposed to be grown on that property, as well as it's supposed to be less than 10% of that total land. Plus, this property parcel size is not even 20 acres either to even qualify for such a thing as an AE20. So they're not growing an agricultural product there. They are, as they stated, doing a trucking operation. They did, thank you for stating for us and representing us, that we are having issues with trucking operations all around there, and they're not disappearing. And we've been battling this for myself over 2 years. It's very costly on our part to have to keep coming here and keep battling. So I just would appreciate you guys backing us and enforcing the code. Also, when it says 2,100 feet from the city of Fresno, that's actually where the school site is. So they're only 2,100 feet from the school site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have anything else more to say? Not, you're good? I'll close the public hearing. Brian, this is in your district.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This is in my district, and while I have not had any direct conversations, we have received many complaints and letters into my office as well as emails. Again, this is another one that's operating illegally, as the people stated. They buy the property, move the trucks in, and think because they're there, we're going to just do it. This was unanimously denied by the Planning Commission of both the two people that represent the area. Therefore, after hearing from the neighbors, it's my intent, I will make the motion to deny the appeal and to keep the Planning Commission's motion intact to deny this operation.
All right. Okay, and I got a second. All in favor, so saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion unanimously passed.
We now move to item number 16. Under Public Works and Plan, receive staff's presentation, conduct public hearing to receive testimony on proposed county community development, housing, and homelessness program activities that will be funded by federal grants. Approve and authorize practice of offering and issuing affordable housing development funds as a loan and/or a grant to both for non-for-profit and nonprofit developers consistent with requirements of funding sources used.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I'm Jennifer Kish Kirkpatrick, Senior Staff Analyst for the Community Development Division within the Department of Public Works and Planning. This presentation and public comment period are intended to satisfy federal requirements necessary to apply to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, for the 3 federal programs listed, which I'll be referring to by their abbreviated names. We do have representatives today from our department, the Department of Social Services, and the County Administrative Office to address any questions you may have. Every 5 years, the county must collaboratively create a consolidated plan for the funding received by HUD to develop thriving communities. This plan includes the 1-year annual action plan and the proposed funding amounts for federal fiscal year 2025. The structure and content of the consolidated plan are set in a template prescribed by HUD and requires substantial participation, assessments, and analysis prior to identification of goals. These funds are used within a specific region known as the Urban County Area, which is governed by a 3-year joint powers agreement. There are currently 8 cities participating, and the department extends invitations to non-participating cities each year. Annual allocations of CDBG, home, and ESG have remained relatively stable over the last 5 years, and we are monitoring funding for federal fiscal year 2026, which we will probably know more about next spring. Public participation and stakeholder input are key components of the consolidated plan. The item before you today includes both the draft proposed for public comment on June 6th, as well as the revision version recommended by staff for approval. HUD issued direction on a number of new requirements in late June and early July after our June draft was published for a 30-day mandatory public comment period. The recommended version before you today includes revisions which staff believe will ensure full compliance with recent executive orders, address limitations on the web form database the plan is created in, ensures responses are consistent throughout the draft, updates funding amounts to account for expenditures after April, and addresses public comments and feedback received after July 21st. Community development block grant funds can be used for a variety of different activities. Throughout the next slides, activities shown in dark blue are selected for funding, light blue are not selected for funding during this 5-year cycle. Any dollar amounts I say are rounded. Focusing on specific funding amounts and goals for CDBG, the proposed plan reallocates $1 million of past year's funding and identifies over $11 million for public facility and infrastructure projects. This year, we do have a new use, off-site and street improvements for affordable housing, $2.4 million for public services, $1.8 for housing rehabilitation, which is also a shift in focus from past years. These are our CDBG project funding priorities as they are identified in the county's Citizen Participation Plan, which was last amended by the board in 2020. Any amendments to these priorities would need to go through their own draft and public comment process. The Home Investment Partnership Program funds can be used for a variety of different activities. This cycle, unlike prior years, staff recommended no home funding for homeowner rehabilitation, as the CDBG funds are more flexible for that type of work, and no home funding for down payment assistance due to current market conditions and the substantial amount of home funds needed to make a home affordable to a household earning up to 80% of the area median income. That income limit is about $75,000 for a family of 4. Recommended home funding amounts over the next 5 years allocate the largest chunk of money to rehabilitation of rental housing, creates a new tenant-based rental assistance program expected to help at least 45 families over 5 years, and includes $7.4 million for development of new affordable multifamily and single-family homes. Emergency Solutions Grant funds can be used for these 6 categories of activities. All are identified for funding except prevention. This is consistent with what HUD recommends when there are members of the community in need of rapid rehousing resources, and the county also funds prevention and diversion activities through state funding. I do need to make a note that on both this slide and the next slide, the funding amounts for emergency shelter and rapid rehousing were transposed in error. So the correct amount for rapid rehousing is $444,000. The 5-year plan for ESG includes roughly $813,000 for rural-focused street outreach, $32,000 for emergency shelter, and $14,000 for user licenses and training associated with the required federal database. While the 5-year consolidated plan uses estimates to set goals, the annual action plan, the 1-year plan, identifies specific activities and uses of funds using the exact grant amounts allocated by HUD. Those amounts for home and CDBG are combined with anticipated program income. That is approximately $250,000 for CDBG program income and $500,000 for home. Those are conservative estimates based on long-term trends. Public services funded this year include the Sheriff's Area-Based Policing and funding for the Marjorie Mason Center, Boys and Girls Club, and Westside Youth. Your board may modify the activities and projects funded pursuant to federal regulations and the Joint Powers Agreement. Staff do want to note that although the Citizens Advisory Committee ranked the unincorporated area public facility and infrastructure projects in February of this year, HUD provided guidance in July that we should focus on projects to expend CDBG funds more quickly. As such, we have included 2 additional recommended unincorporated area projects in the list that will be reviewed by the Planning Committee tomorrow evening. Home funds for year 1 include $6 million reserved for multifamily rental housing rehabilitation for the 3 projects listed here. And those funds are contingent upon all financing being secured, successful completion of federal environmental review requirements, final underwriting and subsidy layering analysis, and authorization from your board. Home ARP funds are included in this 5-year plan for ease of reference and also identifies the reserved project for $2.95 million. Emergency Solutions Grant 1-year funds are a direct 20% of the 5-year plan goals. Emergency shelter and street outreach are designed to work in tandem with the county identifying a need for continued rural outreach funding, including support for overnight shelter for individuals who cannot access a bed elsewhere. Following this item, staff will need to perform a number of steps to finalize the consolidated plan prior to its submission. This concludes my presentation. Representatives from the departments are here should you have any questions.
Okay, any questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this item?
Yeah, I would like to see more of the funding go towards families. There's a lot of families out here that rent is rising. It's not going to stop. It doesn't look like anybody's going to stop it. But I see less and less for the families. And also for domestic violence situations with families. Yes, we have the Marjorie Mason Center, but you can only stay there for 30 days. I don't know why they said 90, but it's 30 days. Your abuser's not going to, that's just a break for them to stop hitting you for 30 days and you go back home. We need stability, safety. We need to have our funding more towards the children, the families that are left out here. We have a lot of shelters. We don't need more shelters. We need more housing. The shelters are very abusive right now, so we're wasting our money on our shelters. I fought for them. I regret it because what's happening inside there. We need permanent housing, especially for families with children. Upstairs on the 3rd floor, 4th floor, we need ADA. We need more complexes like this. I understand the multifamilies and all that stuff, but if we don't build housing, we're never going to end homelessness. And we all know this, and it's starting to make me believe that we really, truly don't want to end homelessness because it's bringing billions to Fresno County and Fresno City over the past 10 years. So we really need to invest in permanent solutions. County has a lot of property that can invest in building permanent solutions with wraparound resources with the HHAP funds. It's for permanent solutions, not for temporary interim shelters. You can use it for that, but you can use it for permanent housing too. So please, let's focus on permanent housing in the county because the city is running out of property. So guess where we're coming? We're coming out to you guys. You have less rules out here too, so it's more eager for us to move out to the county. So please be prepared for us, especially in Clovis too. We need that housing built now and the HHAP to go through that. Thanks.
Sorry about that. I'm still reviewing this. There's a lot of very valuable information. And again, thank you for the tremendous amount of work that went into this. One thing I think that is important to recognize with this document is not only what is being funded, but also the tremendous amount of critical information regarding the challenges we face in this county that I hope will help guide and direct our leadership here, the county and others, regarding that. The fact that and I thank whoever worked on this research to give us a very comprehensive list of the different struggles, including 11,000 families on the public housing waiting list. That characteristics of increased risk include the high housing cost, poor housing quality. And other challenges that people are facing, that disabled and elderly are often more significantly impacted. And so outside of this plan, whatever the county can do to pursue solutions as far as affordable housing. And I recognize that there is 33 units of permanent housing on home, and appreciate that 22 is for those who are unhoused, as we need to ensure that when there is affordable housing, that those who are unhoused are given accessibility to these. I also want to note that there's a number of things that I think are extremely important. One of them is the $1,500,000 for the tenant-based rental assistance. With the limitations on the time in the last one, I failed to note the importance of the prevention in the other plan for the HAP 6, but it's absolutely critical that we protect our community from losing their housing, as is difficult to gain it after its loss. And this is a critical resource, as well as things such as the city's EPP to prevent people from becoming unhoused. The funding for rural outreach, I didn't have a chance to mention, but appreciate the work of Kings View as I've seen them in their work with housing, finding housing in the very difficulty of finding what is available for those in our community. And do ask that we continue to work towards greater accountability in all programs so that we can ensure that these are being successful, and also ask again that the county continues to seek and support the county staff and those that are working on these to identify and make more, create more affordable housing, because it is the most cost effective for our community. It saves more than displacement. And, but thank you for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna read this because I guess I get stage fright maybe, but not all the time. Okay, it says, Fresno County's omnipresent present homelessness crisis struggling to be curtailed because too many irons are in the fire. There's the take of Fresno County Civil Grand Jury, which released its 2019-2020 report on Tuesday, including a look at the county's homeless situation. Titled Solving Homelessness Challenges Threatened by Too Many Helping Hands, the grand jury evaluated the worsening condition of the homelessness situation and found that there's not been a clear strategic plan to address the crisis. Homelessness is a dynamic and complicated issue that requires comprehensive, coordinated approach to create long-term sustainable solutions. Unfortunately, a crib sheet is required to keep track of all governmental and nonprofit entities working to resolve this challenge locally, the report reads. As a result, duplicative and sometimes overlapping roles, fuzzy lines of authority, and a myriad of often competing initiatives make it difficult to measure the effectiveness of the actions initiated to address homelessness in Fresno County. As a result, the City of Fresno and County of Fresno's current efforts lack coordination and threaten the very objective to be achieved, eliminating or greatly reducing homelessness. The grand jury found that fault lies with Fresno County, the City of Fresno, and various other governmental agencies and nonprofits failing to come together with a clear, singular vision to combat the the rise in homelessness. The grand jury also found that the county's response also was complicated by various requirements of federal, state, and private funding sources. It became clear to the grand jury that there was no single organization that had ultimate accountability for oversight of the various programs and services being provided in Fresno County, the report reads. This lack of coordinated effort has contributed to the problem rather than support successful outcomes. The 2020 Fresno Madera Continuum Care point in time count revealed over 3,600 people were experiencing homelessness, which translate. I wouldn't even count on that, basically, because, come see. Let me stick to the script. I'll finish reading it. The 2020 Fresno Madera Continuum Care point in time count revealed over 3,600 people were experiencing homelessness, which translated to a 45% increase over the previous year. With the number of homeless individuals increasing, the grand jury found that there is a lack of robust central coordination with all the services that are designed to help the homelessness. Along with the lack of internal communication between the various entities, the grand jury determined that there is a lack of communication with the public at large regarding the services provided for the homelessness, as well as success of efforts to curb the problem. The grand jury also found that the Fresno Madera Continuum Care does not adequately communicate its operations to silence concerns that potential conflicts of interest do not exist among board members. Very true. Yeah. They, what is it? RH Builders. Yeah, that there's this conflict of interest. Among the several, I'm not going to be able to finish reading, but you guys get the idea.
Okay, thank you. I'll bring us back to the board then.
I'll move for staff's recommendations on this plan.
Thank you. Got a second? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now move to item number 17. Approve and adopt Fresno County 2025-2030 Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. Authorize submittal of Fresno County 2030, SIDS to the United States Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration for approval.
Good afternoon, Board. My name is Carlos Seguiri. I'm here with the Department of Public Works and Planning. We have been working on the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy project for the past year in collaboration with the Economic Development Corporation. At this time, I would like to introduce Will Oliver, President of EDC.
Good afternoon.
You picked a bad day to come.
It's been.
So make it quick.
We will certainly make it quick, Mr. Supervisor. We have a presentation prepared, but unless otherwise directed, we're going to give a high-level summary.
Very high, 50,000 feet.
Perfect. We'll keep it 5 minutes or less, if that. As Carlos had mentioned, we've been working on the 5-year Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy over the past year in partnership with county staff, the team at the EDC, and expert consultants with TIP Strategies. Working with the county, we were able to secure a EDA grant award to really bolster the community and industry engagement in this process. The SEDS is an important planning document. It outlines a strategic roadmap for economic growth and resilience throughout the county, including its cities, and also makes our cities and other organizations eligible for EDA funding, so long as it aligns with the SEDS. So that was our primary purpose. As I mentioned, we conducted robust community and industry engagement. We involved over 200 participants through 16 community meetings throughout the 6,000 square miles in the county of Fresno, and 24 roundtable discussions involving industry partners, workforce organizations, and many others. And we also hosted an online survey where we received 600 responses to help provide input in this plan. Now, in reference, you have the presentation and the draft document in your report. It certainly has some EDC color throughout the document, but we are proud to say that it does reflect the collective voice of our cities, our residents, and businesses alike. At this time, I'd like to introduce our consultants with TIP Strategies who helped convene this process. We'll keep it very, very brief, and then we'll entertain any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, board members, thank you very much for allowing us to speak with you. We'll be very brief. We put together a PowerPoint presentation. We'll just hit just a few of the high notes with the presentation material, but I did want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. The first thing I want to do is just recognize and thank the planning team at the county. They have been outstanding to work with. I also want to thank the team at the EDC. Will and his team have been exceptional. But one group I wanted to just make sure to recognize is the said strategy committee that literally spent hours and hours and hours with us. They met with us 8 different times. There are over 40 leaders here from across Fresno County in the private sector, the public sector, the educational sector, and they worked with us arm in arm to develop this strategic plan. I also wanted to just give you a high-level overview of the planning process. This has been an extensive planning process. We started in June of last year. As you heard from Will, we had an extensive amount of stakeholder engagement throughout that 15-month period. We also conducted a comprehensive economic and demographic analysis. All of that information was used to help with the partnership of the strategic committee to develop the strategic plan that you have in front of you today. I'm going to ask Elizabeth with our team if she'll take us through a very high-level overview of what the framework looks like, what's included in the plan.
Thank you, Jeff. The plan has 4 key objectives. These are designed to serve communities across Fresno County. The first is business growth. This is about building and growing a robust and diversified economy for the county. It includes things like business growth and retention, business recruitment, entrepreneurship, and small business. The second objective is workforce development. This is about building a skilled and adaptable workforce. It includes strategies and actions around career development, talent attraction and retention, building the workforce pipeline. The third objective is infrastructure and real estate, and this is about supporting the infrastructure and the sites that businesses need to grow and build those jobs. It includes utilities as well as site development. And the fourth objective is quality of place, and this is about building resilient and vibrant communities across the county. It includes maintaining authenticity and community identity for each of these communities, green spaces, housing, and downtown development or Main Street development.
So that's a quick summary of a tremendous amount of work that's been done over the last 15 months. We're happy to respond to any questions that you might have. And that's including today, but in the future, we're happy to respond to additional questions that you might have.
Okay, any questions at this time?
Just a quick comment. The report that was included is extremely detailed, so I appreciate that deep dive. Infrastructure to me is a top priority. As we build infrastructure, it allows for businesses to come in and business parks to be created. So thank you.
I appreciate all the work. Thank you.
No, I appreciate the work. Wish you could have come at a different day where you could have spent 15 minutes and not 5. But there's a lot of groups that are actually working against you and some of your recommendations. So it's kind of an unfortunate thing because there's some people that absolutely don't want any growth in Fresno, and they don't care if people have jobs or not. So that's a sad thing. So we need to make a
I'll move for the recommended
Is there any
actions 1,
public
2, and 3.
comment on this item? Okay, you make a second. All in favor, so we're saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carried.
We now move to item 18, Board of Supervisor Committee reports and comments.
Who wants to be first? You got
I will, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on our last meeting, we considered an agreement with the Central Valley Community Foundation. I have since met with that organization, have a better understanding of that. I have met with the CAO, and I think if we have some guide rails, not involve our public works staff, the CAO has agreed that he will oversee that and to be represented on that. I would announce that I'm going to ask to have that brought back without any objection or majority objection, and for us to reconsider that if that would be possible. Is that all right?
Well, I don't know. I felt their leader stabbed me in the back, and she's at fault for this whole Measure C debacle that's going on right now. And I think she needs to face up to that. And her board needs to figure out they need to get a new leader.
Okay, well, this is different than Measure C. I understand that. And if you like, when it comes back, I'm sure they would be here and you could have that public conversation with her. But I would like to have that reconsidered.
Well, I'll support reconsidering out of respect for my colleague. I have a lot of concerns, and we can discuss that, but certainly out of respect for you, let's reconsider.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it, Luis? Yeah,
No, any comments?
no other comments? Only comment I'm gonna make, I still got an F-35 in my field with an unknown date when they're gonna actually even move it. One thing I'll say is the base commander, the XO, and air chief, I couldn't have asked for nicer people to work with. Even the Homeland Security guys that are watching the site have been very, very cooperative.
Eagle's worth a lot more now. I think those jets are worth $100 million.
I don't think so. Well, at this, I had a former congressman tell me I need to pull a trailer out there and load it up and take it to my shop.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
no. Okay, we'll move to board.
Item number 19, board appointments.
Yeah, none?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to reappoint William Bertolani to the Historical Landmarks and Records Advisory Commission.
Okay, I've got 4, Bernice. You don't have any,
No.
Brian? Fresno Workforce Development Board, Robert Topiti. And that's a joint city labor position previously held by Tony Canales. The Housing Authority appoint Jacqueline Hendricks to the tenant position previously held by Joey Fernandez Fuentes. And reappoint the Commission on the Status of Women, Eva Castellanos. And the Transportation Authority, this is the rural public person, reappoint Kirpal Sahota, AKA Paul Sahota, to the new term that lasts 6/30/27. So is there any public comment on this before I bring it back to the board? So anyone?
For approval of those.
Thank you. Second. All in favor, so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries.
We now go to item 20, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons desiring to address the board on any matter not on this agenda.
Yeah, not on the agenda, so don't get up and comment on something that was on the agenda.
Got it.
Okay.
Good morning, or actually good afternoon. I want to share more with you about the known stray dog problem and 2 unknown solutions. I thank you ahead of time for hearing this message and this request. Times have changed, and for a long time, the county has not been able to pick up, shelter, feed, or water the many abandoned, dumped, and lost dogs. These strays are roaming our streets for months, getting pregnant, having puppies on private property, and becoming large packs of dogs. They're also dying. There have been cases of shot stray dogs, burned stray dogs, beat and tortured stray dogs, and of course, lots of stray dogs are run over by cars and they starve to death. And during all this, the county is not addressing the public about this problem. They are too quiet. The county is not engaging in any sign posting, any media advertising, or news coverage. They are not intentionally informing the public how wrong it is to abandon, dump, or refuse to care for your dog. The majority of the public is unaware that it is a misdemeanor and carries a fine and possible jail time. Could the county begin doing this public informing as soon as possible? Could we see signs posted wherever these stray dogs are found, also posted in our public parks, posted at shopping centers, and in the county? Professional signs announcing no abandoning dogs, misdemeanor, punishable with fines and jail time. One immediate solution is organic. Sacrificial citizens that could not walk by seeing a starving dog, a hurt dog, sad lost dog, or new puppies without doing something about it. They have taken on the responsibility that should be the county's upon themselves. They are providing the shelter, the food, the water, and veterinarian care all on their own expense in their own homes. They have posted pictures of these dogs on social media. They have worked hard to find their original owners or to get them adopted, and they have been successful. Our group, Angels for a Paws, formed to help them. Today, we are requesting that since the legal amount of dogs per household is 4, these rescuers are over the limit. Could there be a list created of these rescuers' addresses, vetted by the county as legitimately housing specific stray dogs found on our streets, therefore protecting them against any fines or fees that the county would charge them for breaking the 4-dog limit? These addresses could be made known as a private rescue dog address. I personally feel this is the least the county can do for citizens that have taken in strays and are sheltering, feeding, watering, and trying to locate their owners or get them adopted, all on their own financially. And I'm so proud of the new members. Fresno's in good hands.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is there any public comment for closed session?
Hi, my name is Maria Alvarez Garcia. I am also with Hack Group with the Angel for Paws. And I have sent you a lot of emails about the issues that are going around in our community with stray dogs. There are cases of abandoning the dogs while people move out. They leave them in lots. Some are starving, some are having puppies left and right. There's cases where they're left in places where there's nobody living there. In the case of 140 East North Avenue, I'm pretty sure you're aware of that address because I have sent you emails on that address. These dogs have lived there for 5 years with no humans living around. We have taken care of those dogs, feeding them, watering them, and we have done everything we can possibly do, call the cops, nothing is being done. And this is something that is occurring commonly here in Fresno County. Not only that, they're dumping dogs on North Cornelia, all that area, Elm and Church, Elm and Valentine. We also had a case where puppies were purposely running over them on purpose. Now, Fresno Humane is not working with us. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. What our goal is to work together with you, the county and the city, to make this better in the best interest of these dogs, because these dogs are dying horrible deaths. And I know that a lot of you are against euthanization, and I don't understand why. Sometimes it's humanely euthanizing these dogs is better than the deaths that they're getting out there. They're being shot, they're being burned, they're being hit by cars, they're being dragged. And I have sent you pictures all in my emails, but I don't know if you open them. It is very horrific what we see on a daily basis. So we want to be able to work with you as a community, since nothing is being done on your part that we see. And also, we should say enough is enough. When these people abandon their pets and leave them there to starve, that should not be acceptable. We have another case right now where 3 dogs, I went there, fed them yesterday. They were so thirsty. One of them was sleeping. They have their ears full of ticks. Literally, the ticks are eating their ears, their legs, because they were left behind. Now, I don't know when is that going to stop where you guys say enough is enough. It is illegal to abandon your dog on purpose, but there's no accountability. And that's what we're upset about. As long as you guys continue to allow people to do this, not only that, dump their dogs whenever they see fit, it's not going to stop. And it's taking us, a community, like she said, on our own pockets. We're making our homes shelters. I have 13 dogs right now. There was a point I had 20 cats in my bathroom. And instead of getting a thank you from the city and the county, we're getting threatened with fines because we have too many dogs. And I think that should be unacceptable. We're trying to do what's right for these dogs, for the community, because they're a hazard out there. And I want you to consider that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll close all the public comment. County Council, do you?
We do anticipate reporting out after closed session.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we are back on the record, and we have to report out of closed session that the board has authorized litigation against Baljinder Singh regarding violations of the county zoning ordinance and public nuisance at 7144 West McKinley Avenue. And the board has authorized litigation against Premier Logisticians, Inc., Sangha Carrier, Inc., Baljinder S. Sangha, Chahal Road Lines, Inc., Malkit Singh, Baljinder Singh Dillon, and Bobby Singh Dillon regarding violations of the county zoning ordinance, public nuisance, and violations of California's unfair competition law at 7360 and 7400 West Shaw Avenue. And under public official appointment, the board has selected Douglas T. Sloan as the next county counsel.
And for the others that you reported out, is that 22, item 22?
Those were all under item 22, yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I can give you the list of names.
Thank you.
All in favor, so say an aye. Aye.